everybody. Good morning and welcome back to day 2 of the Battle Spirit Saga Grand Open in Monroeville. We are here to cast the top 8 and show you even more blazing hot, intense, high skill matches and decide the winner of this Grand Open to see who's going to move forward with that perfect record, that top prizing. And I am just excited to be here. What about you, Jex?
Yeah, I can't wait. I mean, honestly, we're going to be seeing the best of the best for this tournament go at it. We're going to be seeing the best of the best for Battle Spirits in general go at it today. I mean, it's just going to be exciting. You know, everybody's fighting for that 7K bounty. You know, they're trying to get it, trying to get to that top prize. It's going to be a fight. It's going to be a huge fight. I mean, we've seen the pie chart. We've seen what the matchups are going to be. There's, 4 Axe Spider. There's going to be 3 Pterosaurs. And I believe we have the 1 of purple mid range. So it's going to be interesting to see what tops at this. You know, we've been seeing Axe Spider do so well today that well, at least yesterday, that it is scary. You know, will Axe Spider probably top, or will we see Pterosaur reign supreme again? We haven't seen Pterosaur come back ever since Pro Tour. So this would be great to see Pterosaur out again, killing it and making sure it has its name cemented in history once again.
100%. 100%. Like I said yesterday, the thing that most interests me is that while white purple axe spider or white slashing purple axe spider is going to be the thing, both the pterosaur players as well as the purple mid-range player, this is their bread and butter matchup. This is the matchup they felt that they should not have even entered the tournament if they could not readily handle. So this is going to be a very interesting lineup. Now, looking at this, we see that there are Axe Spider mirrors, 2 Axe Spider mirrors, which is to be expected. But then there's a Pterosaur mirror, followed by a Pterosaur versus purple midrange. In a perfect world, I would have liked every non-Pterosaur to be paired up against Pterosaur, but that's not how seeds work. So next go, we're going to be able to see a Pterosaur or a Axe Spider versus a non-Axe Spider, another Axe Spider versus a non-Axe Spider. So at least the semifinals will be very, very, very gas in my opinion. But yeah, I'm excited to jump in.
Yeah, I can't wait. This is going to be so great. And I know our players are getting ready right now to start this whole day off. I know it's easy for them to be a little worrisome, but again, the format for today will be 2 out of 3 60-minute matches with 5-minute extra time for the overtime. And you already know they're fighting for that top rising. They're winning for the playmat, the deck boxes, the core, everything. I mean, honestly, the winner core, the 7K bounty that you could get from getting first place is going to be insane. I'm honestly hyped for these players. I mean, they've been practicing day in and day out for these moments like this, and they're such good players. So we know this is going to be one for the ages.
Yeah, look, I can't overstate it any more than I already have. I am so excited to see these players duke it out. We saw some excellent showmanship yesterday. The plays were very clean. We saw people rip victory from the jaws of defeat. We saw people come through and just make commanding landslide victories. I am ready to see what plays go on at these top tables.
Yeah, this is gonna be great. I mean, we've like you said, we've seen some crazy things. I mean, we've seen King Charles go off. We've seen Small just smack on board. It's a lot of things that I'd never expected, and I am extremely happy, extremely excited for this. Now, granted, I will say with the match that will be on, I believe we will be showing on stream Alex Blandon and Ryan Matas. So we already seen Ryan Matas playing purple mid range yesterday, and we've seen Alex Blandon playing Pterosaur yesterday. So that is going to be a crazy good matchup. We get to finally see what a seasoned purple player can do against the Pterosaur, the might of the Jurassic Park era. It's going to be really great to see what's going on with this.
And for anybody that says that we don't love you and we would like to have you sit through Axe Spider mirrors, I just need you to know, look at this matchup and know that that's not true. But yeah, if you guys are in the chat and you are sitting here ready, just as excited as us, sound off. Let us know. I want to see the engagement. But yeah, we should be starting in probably about 5 to 10 minutes less. I am just brimming.
But yeah, this is going to be great. I mean, for this timing, I think everybody's just a little nervous, but I mean, you can't be too much because that nervousness can get you. I mean, we have our players that are going to be on camera. We know that one of them will be making it into the next round. So it's going to be great to see. Now, we already know for everybody that doesn't, the last round of the day, the final match will not have a time limit. So these players are just going to be going at it without having to worry about running out the clock or anything of that nature. So it's going to be good to see. That also does dive in, see like how do you play in that situation. Sometimes you can kind of prepare for that time, the time to end. But in situations like that, you really can't. So it's going to be interesting to see how these players combat it.
Me trying not to be biased, but me also trying not to have a no time limit X Spider mirror. No, jokes aside, just to answer you, Travi Dead, I'm glad you're hyped. And as we said before, the match is about to be Ryan Matas with purple mid range versus Alex Blandon with Pterosaur. So that is going to be the very first one, and yeah, it should be a good tempo to start the day off with. Yeah, I'm just.
It's gonna be a lot. It's gonna be a lot. But I will say for us, we are going to be here commentating through the whole tournament. So please stick tuned. I mean, honestly, do you want to go over anything else before we send off?
Well, we did have the format back on the screen a little bit ago. If that wants to come right back up, just for the people that are tuning in for the first time, so we can tell them just the constraints of the tournament, the format we're going into. So, uh, for all of the rounds today, for top 8, top 4, and the finals, what we have here is the number of game wins necessary, 2 of 3. Match time, 60 minutes. Extra time will be 5 minutes or 3 turns of overtime. However, as Jex stated, for the final round, we will be no longer adhering to the 60-minute time limit. So the players will have all the time they need to play, and this match will fully be decided by skill and execution and not potentially a time clock after a long game one. Now, the pricing, we are playing for keeps here. This is the top of the top. But yeah, this was a $25,000 prize pool, and we are about to see people fighting to divvy that up to the extreme. So yeah, just wanted to make sure you guys were aware of that once more. Now, we're looking at the pricing right now. The finalist event pack, people are actually going to go into these cards with the stamps on them. So it's not just the color grading, it's the stamps. But as we were about to get ready for this, let's actually dive a little bit more into this matchup, right? This is going to be, as we stated, purple mid-range versus Pterosaur. Now, the thing that happens here for me is that being a native purple player, you can have such a good mid game, and all of your mid game and early game pieces can stack up together to make a powerful end game with backup from cards like Bishop, Curse Dragon, if you choose to play them. However, Pterosaur does most of its damage in the early game, and then it transitions to a very strong mid game that most decks are pretty much buried under from the pressure of their early game. The thing, though, is in an Axe Spider format, Pterosaur and purple mid range can often get at their opponents early in the game and then cap out during the mid game. But in this matchup, there's going to be a lot of footsie play in the very beginning. Pterosaur puts those bodies down very, very fast and very, very wide. But purple is also going to be able to put down fast bodies. It's going to be able to clear bodies using things like Beldegor, using core manipulation, and it's going to be able to be just as punchy back. And when two decks that can have very high offensive capabilities in the early game play against each other, all of your swingers that were just going to go straight face become your swords and your shields. Things that were going to turn sideways for swinging are now going to have to stay behind for blocking. So on the purple side, you're going to see Aglavale being at a premium. You're probably going to see Dark Knight Lamorak and Aglavale being a prime defense engine. Once things get more aggressive with Rotting Swamp, you're probably going to see the more aggressive pushes, especially if the hand is backed by things like Thorn Prism, Core Theft, things like Ice Shield. You're going to be able to see a lot more aggressive swings because crashes will turn into draws immediately afterwards. So this is going to be a very exciting match for me because the first checkpoint I think is going to happen is whether or not purple draws the opening hand to contest with Pterosaur's opening onslaught. And then the second checkpoint is if that is a case, does Pterosaur have the ability to push through that and then keep going? Because most of the times, once Pterosaur turns something sideways, purple will be able to get rid of it one way or another, whether it's Beldegor, whether it's Core Drain, whether it's like, yeah, there's a lot of things that can go down here. So this time, we always had access to deck lists, but I think in the top 8, it's more appropriate to go through the exact cards that we know are in there, where they're coming into the side decks. So we will dive in. And I've essentially talked super long. So it's Jex's turn.
No, you're fine. No, I'm just thinking about, Pterosaur and the might that it brings. I mean, honestly, with Pterosaur, when you're playing against purple, and most of the time when they had to deal with the Beldegor, well, not the Beldegor, but the Basculus and the Curse Dragon combo, they always had to be very careful about where they distribute their cores and things of that nature. But when you really know the deck list, or at least you can see the deck list, and these players know each other. These players have talked before about different things and getting each other's, ideas on certain things. So, going into that is a little, it gets a little weird, because then you start to think, well, how are they going to be able to combat certain things differently? Now, Pterosaur, they won't really try to put their units at 1 just because of the fear of that core drain and the one of Curse Dragon that is in Ryan Modest's deck. But it will be a situation where it's like, okay, I don't really have to worry too much about it, because at the end of the day, it isn't something that is hugely, I'll say, impacting to me right now, if I know how to play against purple officially, when you're playing with the Pterosaur deck, at least. Now, we already know Pterosaur hasn't really had his time to shine, at least this, set right now, in terms of tournaments we've seen. But at the end of the day, Pterosaur is showing his butt off right now, and I think it will be fine. I mean, honestly, when you're dealing with, players that have played this deck time and time again and have gone through the ringer with most decks and still have topped or even won their tournaments, even when purple was prominent, it brings out a lot. It brings out a lot, showing the skillfulness, showing just the timing of different things that they do, because they know what the matchup is going to bring. So, it'd be very interesting to see how each player combats each other's own mentality with the deck, how if they have to change up the way they usually think, or do they have to just go with the same game plan they usually do to be able to take away this victory.
Yep, and it looks like we are set up and going for it. This feels like when the roller coaster is going up the hill and we are just about to hit the drop. Like, the excitement is mounting. I'm ready for it. I am ready for it.
Yeah, I'm loving this. I know it's going to be two friends going at each other. We already know Alex is seasoned Pterosaur player, but we already know Ryan is a seasoned purple player. So this is going to be fun to see. Now, looking at their opening hand is going to be very, very crucial, just to see what happens as well. If we can, I know hopefully they give us a little peek for it, but I am excited to see what happens. I mean, let's think about it. We've seen Alex get some crazy opening hands. That one game we've seen with him, but we know, oh wow, is that Flamefish? So we see Scorch Battlefield, Flamefish, and a Joker being able to be used to close out the game a little bit early,
and a Bearded Eagle.
Yep. Well, we're ready. We're ready. I think, that hand's okay. I don't know if that's something that Alex really wanted to see fully right now. Maybe he was hoping for one of the Obi Raptors or maybe one Rain Needle, but I think all in all, it is okay for him to have this hand. It's going to be crazy to see how this goes. I honestly think, even looking at how confident these players have been in multiple different tournaments, that that they're more likely prepared for what could happen. What do you think in terms of, going against Pterosaur right now? This meta has just been so Axe Spider heavy that Pterosaur hasn't had a lot of time. Pterosaur hasn't had a lot of time to really get his flowers for all the work it's been put in. So what are you thinking?
I'm thinking that Alex is absolutely fine with the hand he draws. I mean, I see Oviraptor, I see Bearded, we saw Nexus Hazard, Joker, Flamefish, and Scorch. He's able to set up with the reduction and one of the best nexuses that he could possibly set up with. And then he's got a couple of spirits to swing with, which is fine. It's a little spirit light, but what he does know is that his opponent cannot set up Netherworld Depths against him. And that's going to be a very, very strong thing. Now, on Ryan's side, once again, he's setting up with Beldegor. And there's nothing wrong with playing Beldegor right out and then swinging with it. But that Beldegor is clearly not your best first play. There was no Aglavale There was with this many cores, there was no Lancer. There was a lot of things that could happen before Beldegor. On the other side, though, now Alex is coring up because he sees free damage and free draws, and this is very interesting. I guess right here, Ryan wanted to contest him in the early game and put as much early damage through as possible before the field gets too clogged up to do anything about it. But this is going to allow Alex to draw as many cards as he has bodies right now. And that's really scary this early in the game.
Oh yeah, getting the flame fish out right now, this is gonna be dangerous. I mean, having it out and it being such a crazy card, being able to say, "Hey, when it's destroyed, I am going to be able to kill off a 4K." Now, if Ryan is able to work around that flame fish and be able to remove the core, it still will not get that when destroyed effect. So it would be something good to see. I mean, right now, like you said, he's gonna be able to get his cards, see more answers to what Ryan may possibly have, and if you can't stop, the onslaught that Pterosaur will bring out, and we know it can bring out very efficiently, it is going to be very difficult. I mean, we've seen Ryan and the Star Bless draw off of that too. And, we've seen Ryan be able to stop their opponent from another one. Oh my gosh. Yeah, we've seen Ryan be able to stop his opponent from getting a lot of card draw most of the time and basically staving off the hand, making sure that, hey, listen, I'm going to have more cards in my hand than you so I can be able to take this game win away from you. But with Pterosaur having that card advantage right now, it may, look dire in the future of the game right now for him.
Yeah, I think this is a high risk, high reward play. Pterosaur, even those two cards of Pterosaur can be very dangerous. And the fact of the matter is, he didn't just draw two cards. He drew two cards that are very, very, very much so able to farm purple as a whole. And now we are in this position where he's got an excellent start. Board's getting very wide. Flamefish is here on deck and not tapped. So if he wants to get rid of its cores, he needs to actually use something like core theft, which is a tech at best. Actually, like I said, since we're using full knowledge, there's two core thefts in the main. So banking on that one this early in the game is kind of like rough. So I think Alex is in a excellent position right now.
Yeah, like you said, there's only a few cards in Ryan's deck that can actually remove cores. One of it being the one of Curse Dragon, then you have the 2 core drain, and then you have the 3 of Lamorax. But other than that, nothing else can right now. Now we do see that when this game goes to game 2, I would say that he might be bringing in those core drains. Just hoping that even if he tries to core up, maybe Giganorex, that he'll be able to kill it off very efficiently. But we know how easily it can be for a Pterosaur player to just say, hey, you know what, you probably played perfect, you did everything well, but I'm able to kill you off right now. And it goes from 0 to 100 so fast. So I think this is going to be a very, very good game to see the test that, let's see like how far we can get with Pterosaur. Now, granted, he's swinging in with the Rain Needle right now. I know that he has 2 blockers on board. It is a little difficult because we don't think he's going to swing with the Flamefish. So it's essentially he has the only 2 cards to attack. And it might be something where, hey, look, Ryan may not let him in. Now, we do know that Rain Needle is at that 4K mark because of Scorched Battlefield. So if he does try to block with a Beldegor, he's going to be trading. But if he does block at all with the Camelot Knight, which I don't believe he would, but he might, just because he doesn't want Alex to get that draw, it will be a little bit different. Or he might have a spell in his hand to be able to kill off some of those units on the field. But, got to see about this. Ooh.
Yeah, so the thing is here, okay, Beam Rifle, Thorn Prison, very good. The thing here about these pokes from Alex is that these are excellent testing pokes.
Yes.
If Ryan blocks with anything, he loses reduction and he loses a body, a potential slinger, a potential blocker. If he has a card in hand, then okay. It's yeah, it was like it wasn't gonna. These are low impact swings on Alex's side, and then very much so not like they can go a long way.
Ooh, okay. Yes, so, the Dream Bomb coming out.
So this is good. This is actually really funny because Alex didn't have to commit anything to that swing. It just, I swing, you either lose stuff or I gain stuff. But Ryan did actually have such a good setup for getting hit. Like the Dream Bomb on top of the Thorn Prison, tapping out his opponent's entire board. and then also being able to bounce the Scorched is actually very strong in terms of momentum. So now what we're gonna have here is the Netherworld Depths Netherworld Depths coming out, sorry. And then after the Netherworld Depths comes down, we are going to be able to get some free swings in. This is the point where, yeah,
Nexus has it
the
coming
Nexus
down.
has to come through. He is going to get rid of his Rain Needle to do so, but Rain Needle, Ramp Needle, whatever you want to call it, it got its job in, it got its swing in, and then it got off the field. So this is also really good. Getting the Rain Needle off the field also clears the way for cards like Gianto Rex to actually have its full effect. So this is a crippling return serve from
Yeah,
Alex. The next Nexus Hazard getting rid of the swinger and the and the Netherworld Depths, pretty much putting a stop to Ryan's turn because he's not going to swing with his only blocker at this.
yeah, and you know what? Seeing that turn with Ryan, I think Alex played, had the craziest thing happen. I mean, Alex was able to swing with just a low cost card, with swinging in with that low cost card. It made Ryan essentially use two cards. It made him use Storm Prison, and he had to use that Dream Bomb. At the end of the day, it was the best thing that he could do. But then, he had to play the Netherworld, and it got Nexus Hazard. Like, Alex didn't really have to invest too much and to be able to deal a lot, to his hand, a lot of, I'll say damage, but not really damage to his hand. I mean, Ryan's getting low on cards, but Alex is kind of sitting pretty, being able to say, hey, listen, I have a lot of cards in hand I can deal with you. Ryan just sitting at the two cards off of that one swing and the one play of the Netherworld. It took so many cards out of Ryan's hand to be able to just hold off, and they're going to game two just right off of that. Yeah, and I think that was just insane. I mean, you got like everybody seeing it when that one Rain Needle swing, made Ryan in a position that he had to Thorn Prison, and then when that Dream Bomb went in, oh my gosh, he was able to bounce the Nexus back, but still, that was two cards out of Ryan's arsenal that he couldn't get to. I think that was great. I mean, it just shows how, even with the little ones from, Terrorsaur, it can do so much to your field and just the state of the game.
I mean, yeah, like I was saying before, the footsies are going to be very important for these decks that are going to be able to play so much in the aggressive area. However, the thing here though is Scorch Battlefield is easier to establish in the early game than Netherworlds. Netherworlds, you have to play it, and of course, attacks and being blocked, those can happen very much so on an every turn basis. However, the Scorch Battlefield came down on turn one. It got in a bunch of draws going into the following turn. And then past that, you got to a point where when that Rain Needle checked, that was a perfect little footsie swing. Like I said, Alex didn't have to give up anything for that Rain Needle to swing, but to respond to not dying, Ryan had to not only use his Thorn Prison, but he had to activate his Burst at that time. And he was down on no cards in hand. And obviously, he knows the writing on the wall. He had one card in hand. His opponent was literally just drawing. His opponent drew another card off of the Ice Shield, off of the swing that proc the Ice Shield. And Ryan was just like, okay, we see where this is going. Like, you're going up in hand and you're Terrorsaur. You were not supposed to have more hand than I. So we're switching. But now that we're going into this match, right? On Ryan's list, you have to know, like, his sideboard is a Beldegor, one Curse Dragon, one Dream Bomb, two Core Drains, three of the Castle Keeps, and two Vultures. So looking into this, I can see the Core Drains coming in because when things turn sideways, they just need to be gone. But Core Drain also requires him to have the board and the reduction to use it. And we saw that last game. He really couldn't keep anything on the board. He kind of drew, it seems, Spirit Light, and he wasn't able to do it. But Core Drain has historically been good against Terrorsaur. They have to core up their Rexes a lot higher to make sure that they can't just get smoked off the board. King Vulture, I want to know if those go in because Burning Force on a body or Nexus removal on a body goes a long way in this matchup. Being able to remove the Scorched Earth, but then also have somebody that can block and swing is a huge boon in this one. But between that, when cores get spread out, it's kind of weird because Curse Dragon is good against this matchup in some cases, but also late game when there's just like more cores and there are bodies to do things with, Curse Dragon alone may not get there. And this deck list isn't one that leans on Baculus. So Curse Dragon has more limited uses than that. Any thoughts about Ryan? Like what he might put in?
For Ryan, I think like honestly, Core Drain is probably like that and King Vulture. I was more so right now trying to see about what Alex could put in for this situation. Now, I remember in the at least yesterday, he did take out the Joker. He did take out the Joker for one of his matches and then just said, okay, we're just going to put in Dragon Arc, which I feel like he will do again. Honestly, against this matchup, if you put in the three of Dragon Arcs that are in the sideboard, I think you'll be better off. Maybe he's putting in, let's see, a Nexus Hazard. I don't think he would side in the suppression at all, not against Curse. I don't believe he needs another Dream Bomb. Maybe he might add the Dream Bombs in just because of Maduke. Just being a huge threat, and he might not want to deal with that, and he might want to have a way to be like, okay, I'm gonna bounce it and then be able to deal with multiple different things later on. So I feel like, honestly, with Ryan and at least Alex, both of them are literally siding in things that are very optimal for their gameplay. I mean, you have the Dream Bomb in the sideboard for Ryan that you could put in potentially, but you also have to know that core drain is going to be very great against Pterosaur. And when you're trying to deal with Pterosaur, you're not really trying to have cards on the field. I mean, that's with any card game in general, but core drain is the most efficient way to be able to say, hey, listen, you see that big unit over there? I'm going to get rid of it right now, and I don't want you to do anything else to me. So I think that would be great. I think honestly that's fine for that core drain, maybe the Dream Bomb for Ryan, and then for Alex, probably I know the Dragon Arcs will probably go in, and then probably the Dream Bombs are like the best options at this point, seeing that he already has two Nexus Hazards in his deck already.
Yeah, you don't want to get caught lacking with Maduke. Slight mistake. Vulture does nothing against 4-drop Nexuses. It's only 3 and 6, and clearly I've been playing too many purple mirrors or white purple. That's my bad. But we're starting off with the Worker Ant on Ryan's side. That's going to allow him to ramp up pretty quickly, as long as it can stay alive. And then on the other side, we're getting an Ovi and a Dino Man. So we're already starting off with some pressure. But this is no Nexus opening this time. And that is honestly one of the more pivotal pieces for keeping this momentum going. So now he's going to have to live off the strength of his hand alone unless he starts seeing a Star Blast or a Scorched off the top next turn. But I do see Rex in his hand and a Burning Force. So that's very pivotal.
Yeah, him having that Dino Man being that 6K blocker will be great. I mean, honestly, it will be able to keep Worker Ant in check at least, making sure that when it does swing, it's going to have to die. It's going to have to die to be able to get through it. We do see in Ryan's hand, we have the Dream Bomb and the Rotting Swamp sitting there. Dream Bomb will be set right now too, just in case he plays that Nexus again, being able to make sure that he'll be okay. And he has to pass turn here. You can't get past that Dino Man. I know Dino Man's been such a great card, especially when the ruling got adjusted. It was just so great for Dino Man to just be included in the Pterosaur family fully, not being able to hinder it any way, shape, or form. He's putting the 2 cores on it, and that's good because you're playing against purple. Since you're still playing against purple, you don't want to be too crazy with what you have on the board, because it takes only a few more cores for then all of a sudden you have a wide board, and then one Curse Dragon comes down, and then you're done. You're basically done. You have no cards in hand to really draw. He has too many cores. Next turn, he'll just going to be able to flood the board. So I feel like Alex is playing this very conservatively, like you said, because that Nexus is not on the board right now.
Yeah. And this is also, like I said before, whenever you get these matches where one player has the ability to excel in terms of draw and the other one does not, you're going to have these landslide pushes. And right now, we're in the not worst possible position, but we're in a not great position for Pterosaur because the gas is fully dependent on how many cards he has in his hand and what they do. And right now, we've got a successful block from Worker Ant that, since it's at 4K, just completely wiped off one of those cards. And then we have a Dream Bomb coming up and resetting the board. So momentum is not on Alex's side right now. Ryan is commanding the momentum, about to ramp again. He's got his full set of cores. This is where purple would like to be. He's definitely the controlling factor of this current matchup, and Alex is not being able to get on the board as the aggressor.
Yeah, looking at what he could put down, he will be putting down that rotting swamp, making sure that if any of his units die in the future during his attack step, he will be able to draw cards. And we've seen how efficient rotting swamp has been. In some ways, better for him, you know, or at least Ryan in his gameplay against multiple different matches than Netherworld was. He was able to get so much draw off of the fact that, hey, listen, I'm able to use my curse units, be able to attack and make sure that even though my unit died and I traded with you, I'm still going to get a draw off of this, so that I always have that hand presence, so I never really have to worry. And right now, Alex doesn't really have that hand presence right now. I mean, he is, you know, thinking about what he can do right now, but I mean, he does have the Gigano, he does have the Burning and the Nexus Hazard, so he is kind of prepared for certain situations to go down. But at this point in time, you know, he's probably just waiting. I think Alex is fine off, but I know that Ryan having that Nexus down right now, and Ryan not responding by destroying it at all, it does kind of set up for what may happen for Ryan's next turn. And we do see Oviraptor coming in right now with the swing, him dream bombing the Dino Man off of that. Again, Dino Man cannot just, it can't stick to the board. And I mean, that's great, honestly, just being able to say, hey, listen, I'm going to keep swinging with this worker amp, and ramping is more, and the more and more I ramp, the worse off it will be for you later on in the game.
Yeah, the current issue here is both players are kind of in a interesting stabilizing position. Alex definitely needs gas off the top of his deck or some consistent draw, maybe a Scorch, maybe a Starblast to set. But in the meantime, we haven't seen Ryan necessarily go off in terms of his advantage train, but he's been staving off death. But he's already at 2 life against the Pterosaur deck. He's used 2 Dream Bombs. He only has 1 body on board. So despite it feeling very, very good for him not getting ran over, he's actually getting lower and lower on life. So we definitely need to see him start sticking some things on board. They're going to keep him from losing out to just simple chip damage at this point. But the one thing going for Ryan right now is, like I said, without that draw, if this board on Alex's side just gets evaporated, it's going to be very hard for him to mount an assault back off of that. So I believe that's Dark Knight Lamorak coming through. And now he's got the cores on him. So let's see what he follows up Lamorak with.
Yeah, this is going to be crazy.
Yeah.
This is definitely going to be crazy. I think, honestly, wait, what are we doing? This is a different situation. I know he's thinking about playing something. I don't know. Is that deadly? I don't think. I'm trying to see. I don't even know what the card art was. I'm trying to see, but it's like hitting. Oh, Netherworld. Okay. I was about to say, I was like, whoa, wait a minute. Yep, Netherworld coming down right now. So I honestly think that Alice will be answering probably next turn. And remember, he's playing red, so he gets that reduction off pretty easily, making Burning Force 3K. It's a thought process to see if he even wants to do that. I'm not 3K, 3 costs, but just a thought process to see if he actually wants to even do that right now. We know how dangerous it is. We know how dangerous Burning, Netherworld can be against a deck that just is going to swing anyway. But, it's looked like.
I was about to say Hazard. He opened himself up to be 2 for 1 for Hazard. And he can't.
I forgot Hazard was there.
Yeah, he can't assume that he has Hazard, but it is a card. It is a valid card. And when he put his cores down off of Worker Ant to play Netherworld, he did open himself up for the 2 for 1. And that was what Alex was waiting for, the ability to use Nexus Hazard to its fullest degree. And that was not going to be on a Rotting Swamp. So we right now have the serve be returned right back. And this is a terrifying position to be in. At this point, with 1 blocker, and that blocker will come back to hand, but with 1 blocker, 1, 2, 3, 4 cores, unless there's an Ice Shield in hand right now, that's pretty much it. Right now, a block and maybe a Thorn Prison would save it. But even after that, what is Ryan going to be doing to this board the following turn?
Yeah. Alex is just showing the might of Pterosaur right now. It is a terrifying onslaught. And, it's not a lot that you could deal with it if you can't do, what you want to do with your deck when all you're getting, is ran down by the Pterosaur might. It is a scary situation. But right now, Ryan is doing his best, but it also, matters like, okay, I'm holding off, but I'm not holding off to the best degree that I want to. Oh, and it
There
looks
we
like, yep,
go.
Alex is the winner for this one. I mean, Ryan did as much as he could with this. Alex's legs still jittering over there. I see him. I love it. I love it. I know Alex was thinking real hard about this matchup, just thinking about what he could possibly do. But like I said, Alex has been playing this deck for a very, very long time. He's, and both players have, but with this, he knows the matchup. He knows what he wants to, has to do against purple. What he has to do dealing with it. So it is a lot to go over, but I am very glad to see all this go down. This game was really great to see the might of two different decks, but just to see how well it is for Pterosaur to be able to get right over you sometimes and just aggro you down.
Yeah, so the thing here for me is, like I said, both decks have the ability to be very aggressive in the early game. However, for Pterosaur, that's its bread and butter. Pterosaur contests in the early game as easy as breathing. Now, with purple, it has to tilt to that early game, and sometimes you have to see certain cards, i.e., Camelot Knight, your Worker Ants, your Aglavales, things like that. And in those matches, not only was, Ryan didn't have the most aggressive of hands, but we also saw how savage has Nexus Hazard can be in that purple matchup, because the 2-for-1, when you're both battling for advantage, the 2-for-1 is so strong. And that particular game, it was more of, can Ryan break that board before it runs him over? Because there's not really much backing that up. He did have a Rex, and that was going to probably come down at some point. But yeah, we saw the momentum being too strong. And unfortunately, instead of kill spells, essentially Ryan just had a bunch of Dream Bombs. And what that was doing is just kind of stunting the momentum. It wasn't blocking it. It wasn't stopping it in its tracks. It was simply stunting it. And Alex was just replaying those guys, and he didn't need to draw more bodies because he just kept getting them put into his hand. So that was, Pterosaur did what it needed to do. And I very much so applaud. If there was one play in the game that made more sense than the rest, it was Alex holding that Nexus Hazard past the Rotting Swamp to see it actually resolve onto a Netherworld Depths. And that was the backbreaker of the game. Getting rid of a body as well as the Netherworld Depths cut Ryan off from drawing and cut him off from another blocker. So very, 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 very strong. Against I was just about to say, and with Ryan, I'm gonna say here because I see the thing in the chat, Javour123, you're went in to play depths. Ryan is a very, very strong player. So is Alex. They are both up here for a reason. They are no stranger to Battle Spirit Saga top cuts. And yes, going thin to play Netherworld Depths may seem unpro gamer move, but at the same time, he had to put something on the board. He was bleeding resources, he was bleeding life, and he was at a point where if he did not start drawing more cards or putting something on the board that would dissuade Alex from attacking, he was just going to get ran over. There was no reason for Alex not just to turn his whole board sideways. He had the life advantage, he had the board advantage, and he had cards in hand that could be removal as well. So yes, he did open himself up for the 2-for-1, and the 2-for-1 was there. But sometimes you have to look at that risk versus reward, decide that you're either going to be beaten next turn or you're going to get yourself on the board, and you have to risk it for the biscuit. So that is what Ryan did. Unfortunately, the punish was there. Sometimes your opponent just has it. But I would not just say it was a bad move, because it probably was one of his only moves.
Yeah, when you're dealing with this game, you got to also realize how limited sometimes you can be. We've seen Alex off of one swing make Ryan have to use 2 cards to be able to stave off, and the fact that he had to do that to stave off, it lessens your hand and makes sure that, hey, listen, these aren't, you don't have that many cards left, and you can see your opponent seeing all these answers after answers after answers, but they only have a limited number of them. So after a while, you start to see your hand dwindle, and the only plays that you can make are a small few, or just a small few. I mean, I've been put in positions myself where I'm just okay, I'm looking at the field and I have to play a card that I would usually not play right now, because if I don't, I will lose. I will go through and not win this game out at all. So it is difficult. It is very difficult, especially when you're playing against Terrorsaur. Terrorsaur is so good at what it does, being able to be the aggressor. I mean, there's not a lot of decks that makes a Terrorsaur deck be on the back foot. There's not a lot. It's always going to just keep trying to run through you. And, sometimes you have to be able to stave off it. And if you stave off it for long enough, you can usually win. But, purple mid range wasn't able to do it this time. But it's okay. We understand, like, these players are the top of the top. We see these players outperform every single tournament. So, honestly, this was just great to see. I love this matchup. I love to see what Terrorsaur could do against purple. I love to see what purple could do against Terrorsaur. So this was great. I honestly loved it. This did show a lot for players that want to get into something that's not really Axe Spider. Some players don't really want to play the Axe Spider deck. Some players have a very aggro mindset, but some players don't want to be aggro all the time and just want to sit back a little bit and think about what they want to do, which purple mid range showcased a ton of that during this entire day one yesterday. So I am very, very pleased with both players. I'm sorry to see Ryan go, but Alex will be moving on to the next round, and this is going to be great to see.
Yep. So, real quick, we do need to do a couple things behind the scenes to make sure the quality of the stream is up to where it needs to be. So we're going to go on a quick break. We'll be gone for a couple of minutes or so. And then when we're back, we're going to just talk about the game that you guys all came here to see until the next round. So we're going to slide into break. Keep it going in the chat. I know I'm going to be watching the chat and responding to you guys and interacting with you guys. I'm sure Jex will be in there too. But yeah, we'll see you guys in a few.
Sorry about the little break, but right now we already know who's going into the next round of the Battle Spirit Saga Grand Open for Monroe, PA. I'm excited for today. We are going to go into an Axe Spider versus a Terrorsaur matchup. I'm excited to see what goes on for this. It's going to be a fun one for sure. I know it's going to be that for the other match that's happening as well too. So we get to see, is it going to be Axe Spider versus Axe Spider, or will it be Terra versus Terra, or even Axe Spider versus Terra into the finals? It's going to be fun to see. I'm excited to see what goes on with this.
Yeah, it's honestly, it is a lot on the line, and it's just really funny to know that we have like one of 3 different combinations based off of what's going on here. And the other funny part to me is that if both Terrorsaurs make it, it's a teammate finals. This is going to be pretty interesting. Now, going into this, we have Tata that we haven't seen on stream all day. And then we also have Mr. Frisco, who we haven't seen on stream yet. But both of them, very, very, very polished card game players. I expect some very tight plays, some high-level gameplay. I've known both of them as card game players for quite some time now. So I personally am like already on the edge of my seat, ready to see how this plays out.
Yeah, this is going to be great. I mean, seeing how this goes into what, the deck wants to do for Axe Spider, and then you're dealing against a deck like Terrorsaur, which Terrorsaur has just been so great. Seeing how well it's being able to stave off the matches of purple, and we saw earlier yesterday it was able to completely dominate the game into luster. I mean, we've seen Terrorsaur just show out in just so many different ways. So I'm really excited, and I can't wait to see what Frisco brings with the Axe Spider deck. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. I mean, honestly, we know how prominent Axe Spider is. We know what it can do. We know how prevalent it is when you can get all the pieces together and you can go into that late game. You're basically untouchable after a while. So, I really want to see how this goes. I want to see how well we go into this. I'm pretty sure with the Terrorsaur, probably Jada's probably thinking, what, I got to go in. I got to go all in early to be able to kill off, because we know from these deck lists, he does have the 4 Joker in there. And if he could do a lot of damage, what we've seen from Ryan, at least, Ryan used to always go in early and be able to say, hey, okay, I'm going to put you in a position where I can get you to that low health very quickly. And we might see Terrorsaur do a little bit of iteration with that same playstyle, just be able to go and swing in and say, hey, yeah, I have Joker for game. Do you have Dream Bomb? Do you have anything to, combat it? Do you have, core theft, anything? If not, I win the game.
And don't let the Maduke up at the top confuse you. There is not a Maduke in this list. So looking at Frisco's list, It is you have a whole lot of things that are actually kind of going anti-meta. He's running the two rocket cities, so there is a chance that he can see that early on, potentially stifle the scorched battlefield plays. We are looking at, let's see, 3 copies of Dream Bomb, 4 copies of Suppression, 2 copies of Infinity Shield. So there's a lot of defense here. I am definitely excited to see where this goes. But yeah, I think game one, Briscoe is no stranger to playing card games, no stranger to playing aggro versus essentially mid-ranger control. So he is going to just see if he can hold on. Now, looking at John Tata's hand, I see a Dino Man, I see an Ovi. I believe there was a Scorched in there.
That might be Nexus foil. Is that Nexus?
Is that Nexus foil? That might be.
That might be Nexus foil because it looks like a volcano a little bit.
And he just topped a Rex. So
and that is Scorched. Yeah, that's Nexus. that's Nexus.
So I do think that right now it's a good start. Now I do want to see Frisco's hand, because it would be really funny if he responded with that. Oh, he said nope, he not at all. No, thank you, sir. And this is the good part about having knowledge of both players' decks. He can just burn a Burning Force, knowing that there's not going to be a better Nexus for the most part that could come out. So this is going to be interesting. We're getting a Dino Man played over, and then an Overraptor. And this is just Tata being the Pterosaur player. Briscoe is going to just take that life. He's like, look, don't play. You have no cores. Nothing is stopping these things. So I'm putting both of them sideways at the same time. And Frisco says, yeah, okay, I'm taking both life. So we are now over here. Cores up. Both players are playing just at a great speed. They both also know that. Oh, okay, I guess the judge is like, put those over there in the core zone, sir. But yeah, they both know that this game can go pretty long if Frisco stabilizes, so they're just kind of hitting this very, very concisely. So I'm wondering how this is going to get responded to. We get the 0 drop. Now that we've got some reduction on board, let's see where else this is.
Yeah, this is going to be something that, I think Frisco has to really think of, like with Pterosaur being such a aggro heavy deck, or some would say mid range in some cases, depending on the playstyle. Oh, wait. Oh, okay, so we will be bouncing that back to the bottom. Jaguar is really good. I like Jaguar a lot. I've seen a lot of people start to run them more in their own, Axe Spider deck, just because of the fact that it deals with the 0 cost when you're dealing with the mirror. It does deal with the low cost from Pterosaur as well. So if Pterosaur wants to go wide on you, you can put it to the bottom to kind of stave yourself off. And plus that second effect, having the effect to then draw a card. Well, when your opponent draws a card, it will refresh itself, is really great. But I'm looking at Frisco and like how Axe wants to really combat this. It will be difficult. It will be a little challenge to see how this goes. Only he did take out the draw engine. He did take out having Scorched Battlefield on the field for a little bit longer. He said, no, I don't even want it on the field for another turn, which was very great. It took away that reduction early and made sure that he was able to say, hey, I want you to have another one. If you don't, I'll be fine regardless. So, right now, this is a thought process going through his mind right now of like, okay, I might have to build up a wall. I might have to try my hardest, but we all know how pterosaurs are. It can break down the strongest of walls very quickly.
So my main thing taken away, looking at this game state and taken away from it, is Frisco knows that he got rid of the Scorched Battlefield. And just like how I was saying before, without the draw engine, it's whether or not you can break this board. Jaguar, unfortunately, couldn't get its 2-for-1 because, there's just simply Dino Man's too big. However, Frisco just understands that after taking that Scorched Battlefield off, if he breaks this board, it's going to be very hard for Tata to come back because he's not getting any cards back for these damages that he's pushing through. And what he doesn't know is that Tata is sitting on 2 dead Nexus hazards. So right now, it is just becoming like half of his hand is bricked. Then you have a Rex, and there's one more card in there I can't quite see right now. But Tata doesn't really have much to go off of if these Dino Men are removed from the field. He has to just pretty much rely on his top decks coming off here, unless Frisco gives him something to wax off the field. And now that we're seeing the man of the hour himself coming down to the field, this may be the start of a wall that Tata cannot overcome this game. So we definitely have to see what's going on.
Yeah, having Axe Spider come down on the field is a very, very telling sign of like, okay, you know what, I'm gonna have to deal with this. Some people are you know, able to deal with one. Some people are always like, okay, if I see one, I'm fine. But once two comes down, sometimes it could be a little difficult. You know that Gigano will always be, you know, blocked by that unit, but with Gigano giving 3K to the board, so and you know, just off of that, you know, attacking alone, sometimes it makes it a little bit different. You know, it makes the game plays a little bit different. Where it's like, okay, I know you're gonna be blocking with Axe Spider, but are you going to be able to block the other units? Now, sometimes that makes you have to use spells like Infinity Shield, like Suppression, things of that nature. But because of the fact, you know, we know at least from Frisco's deck list that he has 4 Suppression and 2 Infinity Shields there. So he might have some things that it's like, okay, yeah, I'll be fine. I'll be fine for a while. And by the time, you know, Jada is able to even get past or think he could get past the wall, you know, Frisco may just have all the answers to that and be able to say, you know what, I'll be fine for a long time. Like, you're not going to be able to touch me. And if you can't touch me, I'm winning the game. Like, even if I'm sitting at 1 life, sometimes that can be the, you know, the thing where it's like, okay, we've seen games where people have been at 2 to 1 life and still have won the game after even having their opponent at 5 for so long. So I would really like to see how this goes through. I mean, would he be playing the Gigano now? Oh, yep. Yep, Gigano is being played right now, making sure that we bring the big boy out. It is the mascot of both decks versus the mascot of the other deck. Oh my gosh, this is going to be great.
Yeah, getting Gigantorex, getting Rex on the field right now is just what needs to happen. He's going to try to push the Axe Spider, of course, into the confront, and then see if there's a suppression to follow it up. But he may actually just get the 0 drop because I don't know if the draw or the reduction is more important to Frisco right now. Yeah, so putting the draw in front of there, Frisco's just trying to dig to further his board state. But the thing that I'm looking at most right now is that Tata drew into a Burning Force, pretty much making 3 entirely dead cards in his hand. And this is a staggering loss of momentum for a deck that needs to be on the offensive. He just has cards sitting in there that don't do anything to the board right now. Actually, are those 2 Burning Forces? I'm trying to check. But he might actually have, it's either 3 or all 4 of those cards being magic cards that cannot affect the board right now. And this is a perilous position because if a single suppression is found, we're just going to start seeing so much breathing room from Frisco that he's probably just going to take this game over. I am trying to see exactly where we're going from here. Oh
Ooh,
my god.
Age is coming down, making sure he goes up.
Age is getting a card in the life and a card in the hand, putting a bigger body on board. Soon we'll start being able to see some blocks that'll push other cards up. This is huge. This is absolutely huge. Now, I will say this turn is going to be a little scary because while he has a face down burst, he currently does not have a lot of cores available. Hitting suppression is going to take a lot of stuff off of his board. Can't do Ice Shield, but that's kind of fine. Axe Spider is going to take care of a fair amount. But swinging with Axe Spider definitely signifies that he is ready for the swings next turn. If I was John, I would be just sitting here shaking my head right now because that Axe Spider swing definitely just telegraphs the fact that he is not afraid of anything you turn sideways next.
Oh my gosh, is that another
burning force?
So there's 2 Sword of Swords. Well, I think it's 1 Sword of Swords. We have the 2 Nexus Hazards and the 2 Burning Forces in hand. That's insane.
Whoa. And Signal, you're right. No suppression, but maybe Infinity Shield. I'm sorry. When I think about Infinity Shield and suppression, I just normally end up saying suppression. But this is Sword of Swords coming out, adding another body to the board. But yeah, this is actually ridiculously scary the way it's set up right now. Burning Force and Nexus Hazard are just clogging up his hand. Now, there is one thing to say here. Unless he lets an attack go through first, which Rex wouldn't let through. Rex would probably end up letting they're getting confront off. The thing that's going to be scary is he can't Infinity Shield, I believe, without potentially putting Axe Spider within range of certain things. So I'm wondering how this is going to go. Confront's going to pop off right now, and yeah, Jaguar goes immediately under it.
Yeah,
That
making sure
reduction
that it
doesn't,
gets off.
yeah, like that reduction doesn't really matter for anything that he wants to do right now. So taking the damage, okay, very nice, very nice. Hmm?
He was just saying that he could pay the cores and then pass turn right there.
Yeah, one core goes back.
At this point now, it will be his turn. It's going to be something really different. I mean, honestly, we're looking at how well Axe Spider is able to stave off. But at the end of the day, like you said, there's not a lot of cards in Jada's hand in general to really do much. He may see some cards in hand. He's like, oh, wow, like he must have this X the third. Well, right now, I think he's in a very good position. He put Aegis at that level to make sure that, hey, Aegis, when I block with this, I'm going to be bouncing one of your units. Having that second Axe Spider as well kind of cements how far that Frisco is going to be able to hold off this game. I mean, there's no real way to pass by this either. I mean, at this point, you either have to think like, okay, if he maybe builds wide enough, but if Frisco sees one suppression, one infinity shield, he's still going to be fine regardless. I feel like this is going to be such a uphill battle right now for Tada to really make sure that he gets it. I mean, he has to be able to see some cards from his deck. He has to be able to see some pivotal draws off of this because, both of those cards right there, they're not going to be really useful. I mean, his whole hand is just like just blank cards at this point.
Yeah, so this is also kind of a weird position because while Frisco is making progress, Tata still has a board. And that board is not going anywhere. At best, something is going to get blocked and bounced. Another burning forest. Oh my gosh. Yeah, so that's tragic. So something that's going to be happening here. Okay, so he literally just had to hit he had to hit the Nexus Hazard to draw a card main phase. That is just absolutely getting out of control for how sad the hand is in total. 3 Burning Forces, I believe 2 Nexus Hazards. He just drew a Starblessed draw. He is now going to rip that Starblessed draw to get 2 cards. And I see a Scorched Battlefield and...
It was a Rain Needle.
Okay, there we go. So Scorched Battlefield and a Rain Needle. And we are now looking at an ability to... I mean, the Scorched Battlefield at this point is almost moot. The power goes up, but the Axe Spiders aren't being destroyed. And you're going to be able to potentially get a draw if anything gets through. And once again, a single suppression or Infinity Shield will make sure that none of this gets through. So it is very interesting to see. I mean, Tata is definitely feeling like the pressure of needing to draw out of this hole. We're going to get the Rain Needle and an actual pass. Yep. Okay. I think this is the point where we can say that Frisco is starting to get so much breathing room that doesn't matter. Now, the main issue for this turn for me, not actually this turn, it may be next turn, maybe this turn, at some point, he's going to feel the need to drop this Netherworld Dex. But I think Frisco is, he probably has the read. Like, I don't see why he wouldn't have the read. If those 4 cards have just been sitting there and not doing anything, and the only thing that you haven't done this game is play a Nexus, you have to think that the moment you spend cores on a Nexus, it's just immediately. Now, if there's nothing better to do in a turn, there's nothing better to do in a turn. By all means, drop it and just see what your opponent does. But I think that Frisco understands that his opponent is absolutely nothing in hand to interact with him, and that's because he hasn't played a Nexus. So now we get to see Frisco once again poking in. Rain Needle getting it in for what it was supposed to do. It didn't go there to attack. It went there so he didn't have to risk a Dino Man, but he also didn't have to take another life. Because Dino Man are now at level 1 because there are too many bodies on the board.
Yeah, and him having Aegis at the max cores is just going to be able to do a lot of things with it. I mean, being able to bounce is just great. But I think he's just thinking about what he wants to do for that turn. Does he want to keep going and swinging in? And maybe he's saying like, oh yeah, I got 1 unit off the board, but he might have another one. He did get Joker though, so having Joker in there, mate, be in Jada's favor. Tada's favor. Tada having everything that he needs to be like, okay, if I can get another one on board, I will be able to swing in for your life, and you can't do anything about it unless you try to like kill it off. And it's unless actually Frisco sees something where he's able to like remove the cores off of it, probably core drain, which is a one of in the deck. It's going to be very difficult. It's going to be very difficult to be able to deal with this. I mean, Joker is such a good card, as we know, for like just looking at how the decks have been played from Alex Baldwin. Like, it is really great to see how that goes. But yeah, he will be using Nexus Hazard. He does have Volcanic Canyon that he could play. Volcanic Canyon, making sure that at the beginning of his draw step, he's going to be drawing two, but discarding one. So he will be able to see different cards and be able to maybe get some of those dead cards out of his hand, be able to come back from this. I think, honestly, he might be on the right track, and sometimes he can, at this point, all it takes is one. Actually, was it 3 more swings and he'll be okay? But it is a lot to ask for. They're both at the same life. You already see the fact that Aegis is there. You already see the fact that you have an Axe Spider on board, and the other one is just swinging in, just saying, "Hey, you're either gonna block or I'm just gonna be sitting here chilling."
Yeah, Core Drain is very, very, very much so. Like, I mean, it would be a great card to have right here, but I just don't think he has it now.
Yep.
He is using. Trying to see exactly what he wants to do here. This is interesting. Volcanic Canyon is going to be a great card to be here because he can start turning those dead cards immediately. Like, he doesn't even have to think about what he's drawing next. He just needs to get rid of those burning forces in his hand. Now we're seeing the great shuffling of cores, and I want to know, because it's been hard to see Frisco's hand this entire go. I want to know what he's planning on playing. He has a couple of good options just in his deck. I would hope if he wants to stay in the game, especially with Joker being a thing, he needs some Dream Bombs. We're getting a Namengard in, and that Namengard may not matter too much if he does start seeing multiple Jokers. But if Rex turns sideways, you already know certain things are going to be thrown right in front of it. So this is starting to become a very precarious board for Tada. But at the same time, Tada only needs to see a second Joker and he's online. Actually, just the first Joker just chilling. He's edging his way towards game right now. There's only 3 life to get through, and I don't know. I don't think he's necessarily in danger of dying. But at the same time, that Namengard being up to 4 cores, this is not the board you want to see as the non-white player.
Yeah, you're putting yourself in a position where you're just trying to win this game out and make sure that Terrorsaur doesn't have a lot of options to deal with. And having Namengard right there, and being able to kill off that other Axe Spider, I think that was a good play. I mean, even getting out one of those other burning forces out of the hand, being able to actually use it felt pretty good right there. But getting Namengard to just say, hey, I'm just gonna swing out, and being able to restand my units, I mean, I think that was just perfect. I think he's gonna, we're gonna get all those cores back. We're gonna be able to just stave off for a while. He will be ending his turn, getting that refresh step to get all those cores back, and restanding Namengard to possibly threaten, like, hey, if you want to swing with Gigano, you could try. But even then, even if he destroys it, but I don't think he would try to kill off the Namengard. He probably would just let Axe take the blow. But yeah, one of those burning forces just going right away for those draws. That's going to be so great for him to be able to see different things, to be able to hopefully win the game out.
He drew a second Joker. So he has 2 Jokers and a Flamefish in hand. This is going to get particularly dangerous now for Frisco, because he's going to be able to start putting these down. You're seeing him coring up the Scorched Battlefield already, and he's about to have the unblockable Joker swing. Unless there is a Dream Bomb here, this is going to be a little bit of a momentum swing for Tada. Not game ending yet, but next turn when he has 2 Jokers out, potentially very game ending. So we're going to get the swing in, and Frisco seems to be big chilling, and he takes the life. Getting the draw from Scorched Battlefield, that's Rain Needle. Not exactly the most impactful, but we're still 1 card deeper in the deck. The funny thing, though, about this is that after all the setup that Frisco has done, we are sitting here looking at potentially game next turn.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, you already see Tada getting a hand back that, from what he had earlier, which was really dire. But being able to get that Joker out, and we already know they run four of. He runs four of it in his deck. Oh wow, we will see the Dyna pop down
yes,
though.
Where he not Tada checking his hand, not Durham hitting the board, and Tada immediately checking his hand like, well.
Yeah, that's definitely, it looks like game right then and there, because he's just going to give it right to the other unit. There's two Nexus on the board. He can't do anything else to block. And that's game right there.
Yikes.
Wow. Wow.
Okay. I'm gonna just put it out here right now.
Signal.
Somebody needs to clip that.
Signal Collectibles called it.
That was, yes, that was really, really intense. Tada pretty much, outside of a Dream Bomb or a Ice Shield, like Tada was gonna have it next turn with that Arcana Joker, but then Frisco, I'm sorry, this is burned into my brain now. Frisco played Durham, and John just looked at his hand like, well.
Hey, look, sometimes you gotta look. Sometimes you gotta be like, wait, do I have anything? Nope, never mind.
And then looking at the next draws, 2 Ice Shields. So this is one of those things, and I'm gonna say right here, because I saw Smo7 say Axe Spider Gaming. You could also say Pterosaur Gaming. Like, Axe Spider is very, 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 very much so a problem in the format, yes. But Pterosaur takes this game's no summoning sickness policy and pushes it to the utmost extreme. Like, it literally takes multiple facets of this game, the no summoning sickness, the way reduction works, and it turns it into a battering ram that sometimes feels like too oppressive to even play against. So I'm not saying that, like, blah, blah, like Pterosaur needs to be hit or like this, that. But I'm just saying both of these decks are extremely good at what they do, bordering oppressive at what they do. So, I mean, Axe Spider Gaming, Pterosaur Gaming, things like that. But yes, John Tada definitely bricked, and I am definitely thinking that this is going to weigh heavy with him. No pun intended, being the brick. So looking at his side deck, right? He's got it's the same list that we saw last round. He's got 2 Dream Bomb in the side deck, another Sword of Saurus, a Volcanic Break, another Nexus Hazard, and then we have 3 of the Dragon Halberd from set 1. Looking at this, Dream Bomb is just such a big card versus these white decks. They can deal with Axe Spider. They can put back some of these pesky cards. In a pinch, if you really need to push through damage, you can put through an Aegis, but you don't normally want to let them play it against. So it's more of a kill shot. But there's a lot of good cards the Dream Bomb can hit. Even the Volcanic Break can do a couple of good things in there. And then in those weird turns where your opponent has to bring down the cards on Axe Spider, you have some simple kill shots you can do. Past that, I mean, his game plan pretty much still stays the same, and that's to control the early game, be dominant in the early game, and then finish off with Joker. So I really do see, for the most part, those Dream Bombs coming in. Meanwhile, on Frisco's side, his sideboard, you've got 2 Vultures, which aren't going to do anything here. He's got 2 more Durham Dynams. He's got another Rocket City. He's got another Infinity Shield. I think Infinity Shield has to come in. And I think that's why am I blanking on that first card in his side deck, sir? Greygrimmer?
Sorry, I'm looking at like what Tada just put in his deck. Yeah, I think Greynar. You talking about the one at the bottom next to Black Jaguar?
Yeah.
Or are you talking about next to King Vulture?
Next to it's towards the next to King Vulture, yes.
Yeah, that is Greynar. And Greynar having that white red armor. I hate it. I hate playing against that card. Can't really do much about it. But yeah, you were completely right. He did put in that Dream Bomb, and then he did, I believe, put in a Nexus Hazard. I think he took out 2 just to make sure he had the 1 there. I do know he did take out the 2 Star Blast though. So he did put himself down to just the other 2 Star Blast and then put in the Dream Bombs. I mean, that's just perfect. just perfect for what you want to do. He didn't have it in his deck to deal with Dinah last time, so this is something to actually deal with Dinah right now, which is great. I feel like that's completely and utterly needed for this game. But we're dealing with Axe Spider, and Axe Spider getting game one is always a very scary situation. It will put you in a very difficult position when you're playing against Axe Spider that knows you are playing Terrorsaur. And we already know they knew since game one, they already had the open deck list, but because of how this is, I know for a fact that it is going to be crazy. I mean, Axe Spider was the deck that was taking out Terrorsaur players after a while just because of how prevalent Axe Spider was in the meta, especially even last set. And this set, with how you have Joker now, we have a card that's able to then close out games pretty rapidly. And the fact that he does have it in his opening hand, it does make a little bit more better for him, or Tada at least, to be able to close out this next game. I mean, look at his hand. He has a way better hand than last time. And I don't know about Frisco's, but this will be a very detrimental thing.
I mean, he started off with a Nexus this time, and that Nexus can easily just be removed.
Yep.
I will say right here, for everybody talking about the Burning Forces and whatnot, it was unfortunate that Tada had his hand clogged up with those. But, not only could that have been a good hand if Frisco opened up like this, but also Frisco definitely could sense why the hand was so clogged up and refused to play that Netherworld at multiple times in the game where he probably could have gotten away with it. He thought he could maybe get away with it, but no, there was a bunch of times where playing Netherworld could have possibly put him in a position where he was near death right then and there, and Joker range. So I really do think that it was unfortunate, but Frisco still played that very, very well.
I did see a glimpse of Dream Bomb in Frisco's hand, so that is one card that I see. I don't even know the rest though. I have no idea what the rest are, but he did. Yep, Dream Bomb right there. I don't know what the other one was. We are going to be sitting at a position where we're like, okay, we're looking at Tada's hand, and Tada's hand is looking pretty well off. Just being able to have different cards on the field. He will be putting that other Ovi Raptor down, and he will probably be swinging in to make sure that he could put you in that range for that Joker. Hopefully being able to get another Joker to close the game out, unlike he could have done last game, but he didn't just see it too early. He saw it a little too late. So I am very excited to see how this goes, because this might be Tada's comeback, making sure that he gets game 2 so that game 3 he may be able to take it away from Frisco.
Yeah, this is much better of a start for Tada. Just applicable bodies turning sideways to finish off with the tech. So Frisco has to feel pretty threatened here. Nothing on board. His big opening play towards the beginning of the game was immediately smoked, which is just part of the game. And he passes with full cores up and something in his burst zone. If that's Ice Shield, then he's sitting, I'm not even going to say sitting pretty, because it doesn't really move his progress forward. He doesn't have anything on board to build off of. So if that is Ice Shield, he's just essentially going one turn. But if that's the Dream Bomb that he had in his hand, I believe, then this is going to be another one of those positions where he takes a damage and then bounces something which is going to be played right back on the board for free next turn. This is where John wants to be. He is the only person on the table right now.
Yeah, I know Frisco does have that other Dream Bomb in his hand still. On the one, I didn't really get a glimpse of what he was able to put down the burst, but I knew though he had the burst down with the Dream Bomb in hand at least, so he could still use it. It might be another Dream Bomb in the burst just so that he could be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna use it now, but I could use the other one later. But right now it's looking pretty bad, because we already know, like, with how Axe Spider wants to work, you still want to have a board build up. You want, like you already said, you want to be able to have stuff on the board so that you can have the reduction for certain things and build that wall. There is no wall right now. It's an open field. It's an open field straight towards his life right now. So everything right now that, could happen, Tada's really thinking about it, but I think he is all better off right now for this game. It is looking pretty dire. I mean, he has to be able to have the answers for certain things. Now, maybe he has just like a bunch of high costs in his hand that he really can't do much with. But it is difficult to see right now. Maybe he might be trying to do a play where he, falsely puts you into a, hopeful state and then says, hey, listen, yeah, I'm just going to kill off your field. You don't have that much hand left, and I will win. But he will be using that Dream Bomb to bounce back the Swordosaurus, which I feel like is the better one. I mean, at this point, what are you going to do to bounce back the free cost Oviraptor?
Well, I was
that
about
would
to
be
say,
too bad.
that was beautiful sequencing from John. Some people may say it's a no-brainer, but still, some players may want to know why that happened. But swinging with the Swordosaurus first is great because they either have to bounce the guy that's actually going to cost force you to play out again, or they have to bounce back the free guy and let you keep it. So yeah, when swinging with the Swordosaurus first, because that was the one he had to bounce, he still got those 2 other shots in. But I mean, you know, you do see what had to come out as well to stop all those attacks going through. But this is very good. Like 2 life. Frisco still has not committed a single card to board.
We see Greynar and Enterprise in his hand as well.
And Enterprise would have been such a bigger like boon right now if he still had the Fortress City on the board. But yeah, this game kind of got derailed on turn 1 for Frisco, and he's just trying to work to get back on the board, and it still has not happened quite yet.
This is going to be crazy. I mean, honestly, I am very excited to see how this goes. We're going to be dealing with such an onslaught, but we will be seeing the fact that Greynar is coming down. Greynar being another card from the white starter deck. It is, I mean, the white starter deck has just been proven that it is honestly the best starter deck. It is just showing how great it is. I mean, honestly, Greynar having that red armor and being able to say, okay, when I block, I will be gaining that 3000 BP. So whatever you see me at right now, I will be higher than that. And if you pair that with, let's say you had a suppression in hand, it will make the numbers just so astronomical for Greynar. I am very excited to see what he can do with this. I mean, honestly, we do see that Jada's hand is a little better off, but we know how white axe spider, at least white purple axe spider can be. It really makes it a little difficult, but we will be seeing the return of Swordosaurus coming straight back down. But is there another card to play? Yes, Giganorex will be making an appearance, making sure that, hey, listen, I know you have Greynar, but yeah, you choose to block with Greynar, I'm gonna be fine. I'll be perfectly fine. Now, granted, I will say with this, will this be a turn where, Frisco can stave off, or will this be the turn that cements Jada's win today?
I mean, right now we're sitting at a point where this is one of the best things they can do. He's not going to be able to block and neutralize something off of Tada's board. He has to confront on this already bigger Gonta-Rex. And then the other thing that's going to happen here is that this is one of those points where you're just looking at your opponent and you're like, do you have it? Because if Frisco does not have something to completely just go through this turn on, he's going to get ran over by the stuff around his spirit. So this is a rough turn. This is a very, very rough turn.
Yeah, seeing the fact that he is at 2 life right now, he could swing with the Giganorex. Either he lets it through or has to make sure that Greynar dies. Greynar dies. He has an open field again. If he doesn't have anything to really combat it, he will be dead this turn. Hopefully, he may have a suppression in hand. He may have something to really hope to stave off a lot that happens. But right now, he will be choosing to block, actually, with that Greynar. Okay, that is, yep. And then, inescapable avalanche. Okay. That is great. Having Inescapable Avalanche come down, Inescapable Avalanche saying that, okay, whatever the attacking spirit is, I will bounce that to hand. I kind of hate that my best boy Raccoon is on the card art for that all the time, just looking like he's in such a dire situation every single time with every white card art, but it's okay. But right now we will be seeing the Swordosaurus swinging in. He already has that 3K buff from the entire Giganorex attack. So right now it is going to be looking a little dire. I mean, he's at 1 life right now. Does he have anything to be able to stave off this last attack? Will this be the end, or will this just be the game here? He's thinking hard. I mean, he has 1 core. He could suppression. This could be something that could go down for him. Ooh, It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun to see this. Now, you know what? I will say right now that we're going to have to really look at this. I mean, listen, you have two Oviraptors that have the 3K buff on the field. They are both at 4K, but Greatnar is a huge unit. Greatnar is sitting there at that 6K mark, but you know, he will be able to bring down the BP. It will actually won't be, because if he does do the suppression skill, he will actually be able to give it 3K to be able to block again. But it is difficult. It is going to be just very difficult to get past this. But yeah, he just opting to just pass the turn. He's just saying, you know what? I don't even want to take that risk right now. You know, he is at 1 life. Maybe he will Aegis this turn. I do not know. We do know he does have the Enterprise in his hand, though. He may be trying to just see, like, okay, do I have enough to really play it to be able to stave off whatever else, you know, that Giganorex may be able to do next turn, because I believe it will be trying to put that back down again. But, you know, what do you think about this?
I'm thinking that right now we're starting to borderline the position where even if you stop yourself from dying, you're not neutralizing Tata's board, and he's gonna eventually you're gonna run out of ice shields, suppressions, infinity shields, and this is a very rough place to come from. Like I was discussing yesterday, once you're at 1 life, every single attack is lethal. Every single additional body puts more stress on your hand. And at some point, there's only going to be so many outs that you're going to be able to play. Generally, Frisco, you're running this deck, should not ever produce more bodies going sideways, or that are able to block, than Tata is able to produce going sideways. And so this is going to be a very, very rough position to come back from. But we are seeing Frisco start to cast big spells. So we got a Namengard, a 0-cost blocker that cannot draw at the moment. And then we've also got just the Gregor. And so we have 3 bodies to 3 bodies, but once again,
yeah, killing off that Snowbish so he can be able to get that card back. I think that was a good idea, you know, being able to say, you know what, I don't really need that right now. I know that draw would be great later on, but I feel like what I really need to be having is that restand stage to be able to hold off. I mean, he is at 1 life. This is very dire for Frisco, because it does look like Jada is predicted right now to be going into the next round. I feel like that'd be better, you know, for him to, you know, try to at least stave off this. We'll be putting the Soul Core in the trash, though. That is like suspicious for me. But it's okay. It's okay at this point right now. He is trying to hold back the onslaught. He has 2 cards left in hand. I don't know how well he will be able to stave off. Maybe an Infinity Shield will be great, but he will be swinging in right now, and Jada's just going to take that life. I mean, it'll be the first life that he actually has to take during the entirety of the game. So yeah, this is going to be crazy. You know, what do you think going into Jada's turn? What do you think he's probably just going to do? I think, you know, having that Giganorex come back down on board would be really great.
I mean, it's
true. That is very. Ooh, I forgot about the Joker.
Joker, he's had Joker in hand for the entire game, so it doesn't really matter what's going on. The only thing that's going to be able to out that is a Dream Bomb, and even if he Dream Bombs it, it still doesn't matter for the following turn. So
Joker,
right now,
baby,
we're going to see the Joker come down. We're going to get some cores on it. And like I said, Dream Bomb is the only thing that gets Frisco out of this. And of course, it is right there. But once again, we do have to be cognizant of the fact that next turn, it can come down again. This is not enough for Frisco to survive more than just this turn. So this is crazy. Like I said, this is why 1 life is so dangerous. It's not just the board that Tata is going to put up. It is literally every single turn he's going to be able to pump check for this. And then once he gets a few more cores on the board, he's going to be able to play 2. And Frisco just scoop right there. Frisco drew. It was not out, so Frisco said, all right, cool.
What was that, suppression? Okay. Yeah, he did have the suppression in hand, but, you know, it didn't matter. Joker is just too good.
I mean, Joker at 1 life too good.
Yeah, going into game 3, we're just going to have to see how this goes. I mean, you know, Tata was able to get a better hand than he did the first game, and I think that was what mattered mostly he had that Joker. I even forgot about how long he had that Joker in his hand. That was huge. I mean, that Joker was sitting there from the opening hand. He did draw into another one, so he was just sitting pretty, saying like, "All right, I got you low enough." And we did see like that gameplay that we saw. We talked about earlier from like what Ryan did yesterday as well, having to be able to just swing in against the Axe Spider deck and saying, okay, well, I'll have the unit that I need to be able to have play it and be like, hey, yeah, you're at 1 life left. You're going to have to do something, but I'm still going to be able to win in a few turns. And, having Joker in the Pterosaur deck, I don't even think he wants the sideboard. I think he's fine right now. He knows his deck is prepared for whatever else, Frisco may have to offer. And it's like, okay, I got this. We'll be fine.
Yep. It's kind of wild because you're starting to see multiple decks use the same strategy. Of course, not Ag Spider, but both purple mid range running Maduke and Pterosaur running Joker seem to have the same play in mind, and that is get you down to 1 life, threaten you for game every single turn that I see this card. And that is just a powerful strategy that's showing to be quite effective in this format. Can't really get away from that. If you get down to 1 life, you are on a timer for them to draw one of those cards facing these 2 decks. And we saw it right then and there. So now we're going into game 3. And I know this has got to feel stressful for Frisco. So for like John, you saw his strategy work out exactly like it was supposed to that game. This is the strategy that has carried him to an X1 finish in day 1. This is the strategy that has carried him through so many games versus this matchup that they were testing for. So game 1, we saw an unfortunate hand on his end. Game 2, we saw it function like it was needing to. Game 3, we are about to really see Frisco probably sweat, wondering if the exact thing is going to happen again. In terms of the sideboard, I'm kind of like, I don't really know how much he can adjust to this because that strategy is pretty powerful and it's streamlined. Normal Pterosaur aggression does CC the Joker, and of course those dream bombs do help. The inescapable avalanches most certainly help. But yeah, I would definitely not be feeling comfortable if I was Frisco.
Yeah, we'll put it in a different position. I mean, honestly, looking at this going into game 3, I am excited. I mean, think about it. We're seeing right now Pterosaur versus Axe. This is going to show who will be going into the final match to be winning this whole tournament. I am excited. I think honestly, both players have made it so far and they're showcasing their strengths here. We have, we're seeing the hand that Jada has right now. Those are cards. Those are cards. But I feel like it's good. I feel like he's going to be better off. He's playing that Scorched Battlefield like he usually does, and what you really want to do, get it and establish it early. Will Frisco be able to respond to it? No, he's not going to respond to it right now. He's going to be playing that snow bit right down on the field and then putting the Nexus down. Having that Nexus down, he is going to make sure that, hey, listen, I'm going to make sure I have some types of reduction later on. Now, you can Burning Force it if you want, but I do like having that Nexus, especially being able to say, hey, listen, I'm going to reduce the cost of my non-Guards to be able to get it out early, or the Aegis, because we already know how Tada's game plan will be for this. Rush down on the Axe Spider and make sure that I am low enough, you are low enough, so that when I have Joker, and I will play Joker and I will pull it, that it will be your end for you this game. He's going to try to close out right now, but I am loving that Flamefish play, even though, oh God, did I just say I love Flamefish? I'm sorry. I didn't mean that, y'all. I didn't mean that. But we do see Sortosaurus as well coming down. This is going to be great for Jada. He has his field. He has his board presence. He has his Nexus sticking to the field. But we also know that, Flamefish will be swinging in, seeing how Tada, Frisco's probably going to take that. Probably just going to be like, oh, yep, we'll be fine.
Yeah, this is a precarious place for Frisco. Frisco is in a position where he can be very much so 2-for-1 by Nexus Hazard, which is already in Tada's hand. He just doesn't have the cores to play it yet, but he's stacking up the reduction to do so. So this is about to be a particularly scary turn. Frisco may not know it's coming, but Yeah, being 2-for-1 here is going to be a massive blowout. And if he's using his cores to further his board and the one drop does not have 3 cores on it, he could potentially get 2-for-1 without any sort of insurance policy coming back to him on that draw. So this is a little scary, I think. But with the Fortress City Newman Guard out, he's going to be able to play something big. And we are already out here with an Aegis this early in the game, getting the +1 in life. And I don't think he got the plus. Did he get the draw? I don't think he got the draw, did he?
I don't know. I think he was counting hand. I don't know about the draw, but I do
Okay.
know.
And
Right?
he definitely put out the zero drop, which I agree with. The zero drop is just going to be collateral damage when the Nexus Hazard comes down. So I do agree with getting it off the board to further strengthen your Aegis. And just like that, oh my gosh, I was going to say just like that, he's feeling a little bit better. But the Dream Bomb is there now. He doesn't have the cores to play the Dream Bomb without killing something on his board. But there is going to be a point where he's able to let that fly. So this is kind of a interesting open game state. Both players are starting to progress. And both, I mean, I see at least on Tata's side, he has a very strong hand. Like
Yeah, Tada's fine. Perfectly fine. I think, like, honestly, he's just going to be sitting pretty. It is a little thought process. Like, you got to understand, people, watching, always understand you're still playing against Axe. You got to be very careful about the moves you make because one wrong move can lose you the game. Him having this board presence, it can't, he can't be able to swing in like he wants to be able to get him low early. But right now, like I said, the thing about Axe Spider and the best thing about Axe Spider is if you could stave off the onslaught, you usually can win the game. But right now, Tada's going to try to at least make sure that doesn't really happen right now. He's going to try to make sure like, hey, I'm going to try to get you low regardless. Even if some of these units die, I'm going to be able to draw off one of these because you only have this one blocker on the board. But hopefully we'll see how this goes. Maybe he might do this and then maybe put down a suppression to really just say, yeah, I'm just going to kill off the entire field. We don't know. Or let's see how this goes. Is that a suppression? Nope, he will be taking the life. Okay, that is going to be good for him. That's great. I think that was great. Honestly, for Tada, he's just going to be able to chip down away at his life slowly but surely. And the more he can, he gets put into that really dangerous position of being too low and having Joker come right down for you.
Yeah, this is I mean, right now both of them are. I mean, the field quality, I would say, is especially after the Namen Guard comes down, is a much better position for Frisco. He's going down lower on life, but he's starting to gain these massive bodies. We all know what Namen Guard does and the ability to go up on cores as well as cards. We're going to be able to block and bounce things. Next turn, he's going to be able to swing and then have his refresh step. These are going to be powerhouse plays. And at this point, Fortress City Namen Guard has done its damage. So getting it off the board, yeah, it should happen at some point so you can't keep getting dunked on by these ginormous machine beasts. But it's not going to be as effective as if it was destroyed maybe the first turn it came down. But I think if you're Tata right now, you do have to understand that this board is starting to slip away from you. He does have the Dream Bomb, and that's going to come in handy.
Yeah,
But
having that Dream Bomb down, I think that was great.
yeah, the Dream Bomb's going to come in handy, but at the same time, the board is starting to get pretty big.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
I was like, Frisco's going to be able to have a chance to play something before he swings in to get the Dream Bomb potentially procced on him. So even though the Dream Bomb's going to bounce, then Fortress City Namen Guard and likely the Namen Guard, because you're not trying to give Aegis another another trigger coming in. We are sitting at a point where, yeah, he's starting to play these really, really valuable bodies.
Yeah, you know, as long as he's able to do that, he's going to be able to then progress the game onward just from there. I mean, honestly, having that dream bomb in the burst was really great because he's able to then stop what wants to be done when he does swing in. You know, you don't want Namagard to get that refresh. You want him to be able to spin all his cores and then say, okay, yeah, the only thing you're going to have is the 4 cores on the Aegis and the 4 cores on the Namagard to really work with, which at the end of the day doesn't really do too much sometimes if he's able to then stave off that turn and go next, but it is able to then lessen his hand and make him use things that, you know, would be able to hold off the game later on. I think this is great. I think this is what, you know, needs to be done fully. I am excited. Like, honestly, I am going to say, you know, with this right now, Tada looks like he is thinking a lot about what he can do. He might not be in a better position than he was last game, but right now we're seeing what both players can do under these certain circumstances where, you know, we have to really think about it. I mean, that Fortress is being able to stay on the board for a little bit longer. And because of that, you know, it may be detrimental later on. I mean, he could play another Aegis. He could play another Namagard. Him getting another Namagard would be insane on the board. It won't happen right now, though, because he will be getting Dream Bomb, getting that Namagard back to hand, and then the Fortress back to hand, saying, hey, yeah, those are the only, you know, he didn't really spend cores this turn, though. So this is okay. You know, he is still in a good position right now, at least on Frisco's side, because he, you know, has all those cores right back in reserve. He didn't spend any of it. So, you know, Tada right now, he's probably just thinking like, okay, what am I going to do? What am I going to use? He did get a Bearded Eagle and a Scorched Battlefield. Will he be playing that Scorched Battlefield on the floor, having 3 Nexus there? That is going to be crazy to see. Oh, no, he's discarding it. I'm sorry, I forgot he still had to go through that process.
Yeah, and honestly, after being finished off by Durham, I don't think stacking more than 2 Nexuses is going to be something he wants to do, because that just leads for an entryway to the game later. Not to mention that another Scorched Battlefield, unless he's for surely going to be able to swing multiple times and have them connect, there's not really a reason to play another Scorched and then go in with that after that. And then the last little bit I wanted to speak on is Aegis right now. It's at level. Yeah, he's not getting enough swings around Aegis right now to play a Scorched Battlefield and then somehow put them both to 2. That's 6 cores right there.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, looking at this field right now, oh, wow, we're having Sword of Swords coming right down on the field. Sword of Swords being one of the promo cards from, you know, entering for the first set for your local tournaments as well. So I just want to reiterate to you guys, you know, please join your local, local stores. Your local stores are going to have different players there, and those different players are going to teach you a lot of different things about the game that you probably didn't know. You get to learn new things by play testing a lot of the decks that you might see here. You know, like these players have play tested against their own play groups for a long time. So it does, practice does make perfect, as we've already said this weekend. But, this is going to be great. We do see the Eagle coming down. He did put a core on Volcanic Canyon, giving another 1K to the board during the attack step. So essentially that sort of source will be at that 6K mark.
Yep, and right now he's trying to swing right around Frisco's Aegis, and this is going to be particularly a momentous turn. Because even with the block here and the bounce, we're still going to be getting 1 attack through unless there's some more shenanigans in Frisco's hand. Frisco's not really low on cards, but still. Okay, a suppression coming out, pretty much killing the rest of the turn.
Yep, going right back into Frisco's turn. I think that's still great on Frisco. Like, he didn't really spend a lot of cores. He actually didn't spend any during that last turn. So he was just like, okay, yeah, you did bounce these cards, but I'm pretty well off. I think I'll be fine right now. I don't really need to worry too much. I mean, he might be playing that Fortress again. Who knows? I mean, you already do see Tada does have the Burning Force to be able to deal with it. But yeah, he will be playing that Fortress again, probably to make sure that he's going to get that Namagard out in a seamless way, making sure that Namagard will return to the battlefield once again to grace the field with its presence. I think honestly, Namagard being such a heavy hitter for almost any deck to use. I've seen some being played in white. Well, not white, sorry. Of course, it's played in white. I've seen some played in yellow. I've seen some, even like mixed around in some different shape or forms. But at the end of the day, Namagard is just such a huge threat. Now, he did opt to then sit there and say, yep, we're not going to remove the cores off of Aegis. We're just going to make sure that, okay, hopefully this one turn I'll be fine. But yeah, Aegis is going to be able to block and bounce one of those 5 or lower costs back to hand. I feel like this is going to be great. I think Todd is really thinking about this board state right now and saying, all right, what can I do to build a board presence, but do something meaningful for either this turn or set up for the next turn after that?
Yeah, definitely not going to remove cores off the Aegis because Aegis presents essentially 2 bodies blocked with its effect. And then meanwhile, if you Dream Bomb the Namagard, you Dream Bomb the Namagard. But if it leaves the field for any reason, if like Rex comes down and has Confront, you're going to be going up in resources. So I really like the play by Frisco. Right now, you're looking at this position where Tata can go wider than Frisco, but like see right here playing the Dino Man, he can definitely go wider than Frisco, but he's going to be just trying to push attacks around these bodies. I think he is in a position where nothing will trigger Namagard via swinging, but Tata is also at 1 card in hand. This is kind of dangerous. If his board starts being picked off, like if he swings and something is blocked with Aegis, not only is it likely going to die to the strength of Aegis, but he's bouncing something back. And it's only going to take about 2 more exchanges like that for Tata to have no hand and be relying on his top decks every single turn. And that's just not a place you want to be versus a deck that's starting to solidify.
Yeah, now I will ask you, because of that, do you think maybe it was a little bit better to put some 2 cores on to the Scorched Battlefield, even though he would have most of his units dead by that time? Maybe he could have, swung in and gotten 1 card draw for that. I mean, I don't know if that's a good idea, but I'm just want to ask to see what your opinion would be on that.
I don't really like the idea of trying to draw with a Scorched here right now, because if he loses most of his field, one, like in exchange like that, there's no guarantee that he's drawing a spirit. He could draw spirits, but he could also be drawing into burning forces, nexus hazards, things like that. But like he's guaranteed going to lose a body here and get a body bounced. If he lost his entire board somehow, or most of his board somehow, make no mistake, once Frisco gets his cores back, this is a clock. Like there could be an ice shield down there, a dream bomb. Well, actually it is ice shield. This is a clock. Like the first turn is going to be negated, but this board he has right here could potentially do it in 2 turns, well, 3 turns total. So yeah, I think if you're John, you have to know that your resources are limited. Right then and there, he's gonna allow the Dino Man to go through, and that's also kind of I want to know the logic in chat. If you guys know, I want to know the logic between swinging with Dino Man first or Bearded Eagle, because if he swings with Bearded Eagle first, I'm probably going to have to pop my suppression because I don't want to block with my Namagard knowing his Dino Man is still up. But like the moment you swing with the Dino Man, of course I'm going to take that for the extra cores and the extra draws. And then I can decide what to do afterwards when you swing with your Bearded Eagle. So I feel a little weird about this one. But that exchange was a very, very deadly. We now have Tata with 2 cards in hand. Yes, he does have the ability to filter harder with Volcanic, but now you have another Namagard coming down. Frisco has way more cores than expected, or than he needs. He's got a burst face down. This might actually be Frisco just stabilized.
Yeah. Yeah, sitting at that 3 life right now, I think he's pretty well off. Even if the Joker does come out of that top deck, he's going to be able to say, hey, I can probably, and he's going to be able to play the Aegis, gaining a life going up to 4, and then just making sure like, hey, I have another body on board. Then next turn I can put the level 4 and make it very, very easy for me to win the game. I mean, honestly, I feel like that was just great. Being able to get that Aegis out and then, have because of the fortress, Namangard City just sticking to the field so well. This is going to be great. I think right now, Frisco, like you said, is stabilizing. Frisco is in a better position. And as we know of Axe Spider decks, if they stabilize well enough, it will just be very difficult to then overcome that wall. And sometimes you just can't break down that wall hard enough. I think Frisco is looking to then win this round out right now. But we do see that he has the Volcanic Break, 2 Sword of Swords, and a Giganorex in hand. I mean, honestly, yeah, that is another Sword of Swords. Do you think wait. Nope, he has to discard Nexus Hazard. I'm so sorry. I keep forgetting he has to go through that step. It's a thought process going through. Yeah.
He doesn't have much on board. The Volcanic Break is going to get in there just to use the Soul Core and actually bust something. Now, he is trying to fight back. Getting rid of the Aegis that could actually do stuff was very important. Actually, that Aegis can actually bounce. I don't think it has enough cores on it. But getting rid of that Aegis is very, very nice. He still has 4 life, and that is a good place you want to be in. The issue is that Frisco has a lot of cores to play with, and Frisco also has a lot of cards in hand. But let it be known that this is still not over. Now, unfortunately, he's going to have to give Frisco cards. At some point, Frisco can decide to let the Namangard get in front of something, see how it works out. But the other thing, though, is that Frisco has resolved 2 Aegises. He is back at 4 life with an established board, or a board that's getting pecked away at, but it can be closer and closer to established. This is kind of weird because despite Frisco, the Avalanche is really good. Despite Frisco feeling like he's in charge right now, until that Avalanche, the board state was actually kind of contested, I think. Frisco was ahead, but Tata had a board that looked a little menacing. But
that's time in the round.
Oof.
That's time. That's time. At least that's time into the game. So, oh wow, yeah. I think by the rules we will have Tata starting at turn 0, then Frisco 1, Tata 2, and Frisco back 1 for the third one. Or 5 minutes left into overtime. That is going to be very difficult right now. So, going into time, because we are in time, what do you really think the mindset has to change for this? I mean, we know how the time rules, they first will be checking life. Do you think that Pterosaur could kind of sneak in to get that life down right now?
I'm trying to think of what could have been set in that burst. We are at a point where the pressure is on, but we got huge bodies on Frisco's side, and that wrecking defense is going to be a thing. He might just take a body off the board right now. If both of them have the same amount of health, they're going to start counting those other zones. And unfortunately for John, while they both have the same amount of life, Frisco has more cards in hand. In a second, he might have more bodies too. This is very, very interesting.
Yeah.
So now we're moving on to turn 1. And we need to see exactly how this goes. Frisco is definitely starting to, he's coring up to make sure he's keeping the Soul Core in reserve. So that might just be telegraphing suppression. I don't think Tata gets through this turn. And now this is rough because very interesting. But I don't think Frisco is going to let it get that far. We're already seeing him activate during Dynam. And Ice Shield being set is going to definitely in this turn. Oh, wait a second. He has to go 1, 2, 3. Oof. Takes that Ice Shields. Gets that life back. So now we're on turn.
And he has 1 card in the hand, but he will be able to filter out with the Volcanic Canyon. But he has to see. I mean, we already know one is Giganorex. We know one is Giganorex right now. Burning Force and Star Blessed. Okay. ditching that Burning Force just seems like the play at this point, and he's going to probably try to draw with that Starblast to be able to get right in there. try to see some more.
Yo.
What's the card? Is that Flamefish? Was that Flamefish? I have no idea. I couldn't really see too much of that right now, but yeah, this is just going to Nexus Hazard with the it might just look like Frisco has the win for this game. He's sitting on a Rex and a Flamefish. It doesn't look like there is really much that can be done. Yeah, I honestly think, this might be looking like Frisco's win. What do you think?
I mean, if it's 0, 1, 2, 3, then I don't see how.
Yeah, Tada can get out of this. At this point, he's going to be playing Nexus Hazard's coming right down, so he will be drawing that other card. Let's see what it is. Is that a Dream Bomb? Was that a Dream Bomb? Oh, yeah, that's a Dream Bomb.
It's a Dream Bomb, but...
Yeah, not enough course. Well,
that's something.
He will be setting it. Yeah, he will be setting it so that he can set up for when he loses that life on that oncoming attack. He will be able to do something with that. Let's see if that's enough. That may be something that he can use, but let's see how this goes.
So he needs to be able to take 1 life before he uses the Dream Bomb.
Mm-hmm.
And that Dream Bomb will get rid of Flamefish. So he needs to block with Flamefish, which he won't be able to do because Derm Dynam is going to be able to make 2 things unblockable. So the first damage he takes. My main thing here is making Derm Dynam, using Derm Dynam's effect, right? 2 things have become unblockable. And when those 2 things become unblockable, he's not going to be able to use the Dream Bomb until the second attack's already gone through.
Yeah. So then we'll just go straight to life total.
Damage happens, yeah. Punch twice, damage happens, dropping down to 2 life, and then the Dream Bomb activates. And then he gets to end his turn. No matter what he does, Tada is going to end this turn at 2 life. Tada can't use the Dream Bomb.
And that's the game right there.
There you go.
Ooh, oh man, that was close. I mean, honestly, I feel like, like Tada did have a chance right there just because of the fact that, we did see Frisco have a lot of cards in hand. I don't even know if that would have been enough, but yeah. Damn, I mean, that was such a good game. I mean, we did see both players just give it their all. I think Tada had such a great second game going into this match. He was able to do so much with like the turns that he was given. Oh my gosh. I mean, this was just great. I mean, we did see how Axe Spider was able to work it out again. Axe Spider having so much for that just was able to go straight into it. I mean, woof. Honestly, I mean, what do you think about those games?
I think real quick, the fact that Axe Spider had no appearances in Game 3 just shows that while Axe Spider is a cornerstone of the deck, Axe Spider is not the deck entirely. The deck did Axe Spider is one of the best cards you could possibly have versus Terrorsaur. Game 3 did not see a single copy of Axe Spider, and he still pulled it out. So that's pretty insane. Not to mention the fact that if you really want to go into that, even if time wasn't called, I definitely think Frisco had the better setup going for the next couple of turns, and that probably still would have been the outcome. I mean, Derm Dynam would have hammered a couple more times. He was getting double attack. Well, he's getting a refresh step after his attack step, Aegis bouncing. This was a pretty cemented stabilization coming from Frisco, and once again showcasing the power of Axe Spider, purple, white, white, purple splash. The thing about this, though, is that this is a classic diatribe from just any resource-based game. Aggro versus mid-range control-ish. You just have those moments where Tada needs to close out the game before he peters out. When you are looking at an established board versus a okay board from the aggro player with only 1 card in hand, it can only go so many ways. If he doesn't have game on board, it's gonna be very hard for him to push through past that. So that was a lot. And Misdirection, you were also correct. Neither Netherworld Depths nor Axe Spider had any showtime in Game 3. And Netherworld Depths actually didn't land really from Frisco the entire match. It is actually insane. I'm not saying those cards don't need to be touched. I'm just saying the power of white in general right now is on that level, regardless of those cards. They just have
Yeah.
to make it oppressive if they are
Yeah.
both seen and get to put in work. So that is insane. Now, I am wondering who won the last round.
Oh yeah.
For the other side.
You know, we will have to go see this. I think we'll be seeing now that it will be Axe Spider versus Axe Spider. Look, let me say this right now. Caleb is going into this one trying to become a Grand Open champion. I mean, the man was already the Pro Tour champion. He won second place for the last Grand Open. This guy is just trying to go ahead and close it out again. Now, we already seen the might of what Frisco can bring to the table. So this is going to be great. I mean, honestly, we've seen some crazy matches so far, and we've seen some, like, you know, just the plays from different decks of what can go on. And like you already said about Axe Spider, you know, we saw, you know, Ryan, a lot of his games that he was on camera was working off of just Rotting Swamp alone. And it just shows that these players are able to kill off a game without even putting the cards that are, you know, favored to be seen most of the time. And this is great. This is great. I am really excited to see what happens with this. These two Axe Spider games are going to be great to go into. However, I will say that this is going to be where we start, at least soon, showcasing the cards, the physical cards from the lore set. I am hyped for this, honestly. I can't wait to see how this goes. We're going to be at least looking at the cards that we went over yesterday. You know, the lore set promos, just the, like, how beautiful they look. I honestly haven't seen them in person. I've seen pictures. I, you know, don't really know what the foiling looks like. So I am really hyped to see how this is. We're going to have this showcase coming to you relatively soon. So is there anything else you want to say, Uni?
I am about to say that I have seen those cards in person at Gen Con, and they looked great. So I'm very, very much so excited to have Play TCG showcasing the cards from the lore set in a moment. But also, wow, the Axe Spider versus Axe Spider finals. Get your popcorn, get your heating blanket. Make sure you have proper lumbar support. This is going to be a long one. Unless Durham Dynam comes in and becomes the champion that is needed, the prince that was promised, the dual gun slinger that we need to not have this game last for like 18 gajillion hours. But we're gonna see. We're gonna see. This is about to be either a grind fest or oof. But we got this first card on board. Even in this particular view, you can see how nice these Battle Spirits cards look from the back. But we got a little presentation, got some little wave hands, and we're flipping over. You can move it up a little bit, just a little bit up.
Yeah, no, he's holding it all to himself right now. He's making sure that nobody else but him. I know. I want it. So, you know, Spirit will be sending these cards to our houses after the stream. We already know how this goes. What do you mean no? What do you mean no? I'm loving how the card looks. Look at how beautiful that looks. I know it's going to look great in any binder. It's going to look great in some of y'all decks. I'm going to tell y'all right now, I am loving the lore set right now. I'm really excited. We all like shiny things. We all love shiny things. The next one, my boy! Wait a minute.
Shows off this one. I needed to move further up.
Yeah, a little bit further up. There you go. That's my boy, though. That's my boy. Oh man, look,
these look so. The borders are crazy.
Yes. Shout out to Lord Dragon from the 4th season of the Battle Spirits anime. I love that card. Oh my gosh, this is just I love it. And BANDAI, you are cooking with this. I'm not gonna lie. The gold border. Oh yeah, where's Cosmic? Cosmic, this is your card. It's your card. You got better get hype. You better get it hype. I better see the roars. Oh man, this is just great. I am loving this. Look, I mean, especially with like the purple too on the border. This is just looking really crisp. I'm excited. I'm excited. Somebody's talking about Give Me Tokiwa. But Best Boy's coming out. Best Boy's coming out for the yellow players. Let me tell you something. This card actually making one of your opponent's card a Void Lord to set up for Manaka is just hilarious to me. It's just like, hey, listen, I'm gonna gift you with something that you think is a gift, but no. It's just leading to your destruction.
with the effects these Void Lords be having, I feel like it's a little insult to injury.
Yeah.
Give me that test. Your value depreciates. No, this looks good. The yellow and that foil bordering looks very nice. It's just
That's beautiful as a prominent, not prominent, but as a white player. I gotta say, this is beautiful. I need it. I need it right now. Yeah, I'll send you my address soon, Spirit. Just letting you know now. I'll expect it in like at least 7 business days. But this is beautiful. I love this. I mean, honestly, we're gonna get into. Is this Tokiwa? We got it. Let's go, y'all. We get to finally see baby Tokiwa holding the spear, ready to stab all the Void Lords in the heart. We're ready.
Look, as a person that really likes lore, I cannot get enough of seeing a card in an earlier stage of their life. Like you see the General Tokiwa, and you just know that eventually he's going to become the God Slayer Tokiwa. And I love it. I love it. Tokiwa being in a younger state, less experienced, it's cool. It's balling.
Oh yeah, we're here. We're ready for
the
it.
Jedi Lizard.
This card is just so beautiful. Wait. Is that my boy? That's the boy. Blue, baby. We here. That's my favorite card right now. I just gotta say, the man has a sword and said, "I'm going to Indiana Jones you right now." This is just it. We just have to go with it. I'm loving this.
Hear me out. He's a dragon. He looks like a dragon, and he's a revolutionary. But his son is not Monkey D. Luffy. Like, I don't understand. Look, this is a really beautiful card, and I love seeing blue on cards already. But these borders actually have me mesmerized. Like, these are just going to be good to look at.
I know. Look at it. Just Chris. It's like just the whole Vanna White treatment right now with the card. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. You know, this might be Zoro's father, but here's the meme coming for you. We already talked about the meme yesterday, but I'm loving how this card looks. I mean, Victory Oath just having 2 of the best looking cards on its art as well, coming out and saying, "Hey guys, we're going to come in and say, yes, we are partners. We are ready for whatever else comes." But that border with the red is just looking so gorgeous. I'm loving it. I think you guys are loving it as well. Next one.
Look at that.
Oh yes, Tokiwa. Yeah, just a little bit down, just a little bit more down. Yeah, we're good. Oh no, yeah, we're good. We're perfectly fine. I'm loving how Tokiwa is looking at the tree right now. It's just chilling. It's just chilling. I think that's Tokiwa.
Can you imagine? You have the Lord Worm in your hand. Your opponent is about to set their off-color burst, and then the stadium lights shine on that beautiful border, blind you, and your opponent goes, "Yeah, that's a lore set card." And he just slowly puts that off-color burst back in his hand. Like, nah, I'm good.
I mean, honestly, don't wear glasses, y'all. Just do not wear glasses. Yo, it's gonna and the God Slay. You know, let me tell you something right now. You know, you talked about a lot yesterday about this card maybe having some, future proof effects in it. I mean, having that be able to say, "Hey, your big units, yeah, no, we're just gonna kill it. We're just gonna kill it right off." I mean, I'm loving the card art. Looking at Serbia, Monaka's just saying, "Hey, no. Yeah, get away from my land. You shall not pass. I am just going to have to end you." Yeah, like I am just gonna have to end you. But look at these beauties. Look at these beauties. Yeah, the Spirit will personally be sending me at least the blue one for sure. No, he's saying X, but he's only saying that for the stream. He's only doing that for the stream.
I got you. No. It was clearly X for Uni X, and Jex is getting nothing. Uni X is getting them all.
So he's showing what? Oh yeah, see, no, that's just TV talk. He's just doing this for the camera, y'all. He will be singing this to me afterwards.
I literally saw an X.
I don't think I saw an X. I saw an X for Jex, but the X in Jex. But that was just I think that was just me. That was sublime. Subliminal messages. See the heart. That's loves me. I mean, if he doesn't send you the card, I mean, I don't know if that's love, but I'm loving these cards for the lore set. Look at these beauties. I mean, honestly, guys, you will be able to pick them up at your local card store this coming near the end of the month. Honestly, I'm excited for them. I'm excited to pick them up. I will be buying them. I'm gonna have to get a play set, honestly, just because Lord Worm is there, and I need my anime, my anime fulfillment, for this game as well. So I am excited, and we will be going into the final round soon of this tournament. It's been such a great tournament. We've seen so many great things happen. We had so many different hype moments happen, and it is finally coming to an end with Axe Spider versus Axe Spider being the final match going into this for that 7K prizing. I know, like, he's like, oh yeah, it's quote unquote mind blowing, but listen, we're here. I know, like, we gotta do the thumbnails. We gotta start doing the thumbnails. Oh man, but look, this is gonna be great. We're gonna be fighting for the 7K prizing, the winner core, the mat, the card, everything that you would want if you were in this tournament. One of these players will be getting at the end of this, so I'm excited for this. What do you think coming into this? I know you're sitting here with the popcorn ready. I hear it popping.
I think that we are about to see a match where both players will feel comfortable getting into their mid and end game, and so we are going to see a very, very, very heavy value-based slugfest. Neither one of these decks will likely be neither one of these decks are going to be rushing the opponent down. So we're going to see all these effects in full effect. Game one is probably going to be a war of attrition and a struggle bus moment. It's going to be very, very interesting. Let's see how it plays out. We're going to go on break. We're going to prepare for the long haul, and we will see you guys momentarily for the finals of the Grand Open here in Monroeville. Right, welcome back to the Play TCG Battle Spirit Saga Grand Open in Monroeville live stream. We are here for the finals. Axe Spider versus Axe Spider. Big bombs versus big bombs. Suppressions versus suppressions. I don't know. Look, this is the thing. Two late game juggernauts facing off against each other, and there is no shortage of effects that are going to be around in this event or this actual match. There's bouncing, there's life gain, there's draw, there's a lot. There is a lot about to go on, and it will probably lead to a pretty grindy matchup. So I hope everybody in the chat is excited to see these final moments of the whole tournament and decide who's going to be the champion of this Grand Open. We have a lot of people from here already going to the Pro Tour, and that's going to be cool. But you always want to see these final bits. They're playing for a lot of cash in the line. They're playing for the respect and admiration of their fellow players. And most card game players are playing simply for the fact to know that they piloted the deck they wanted to pilot all the way to a good finish. So this, also on a side note, we have Caleb, who has not only won a Pro Tour, but is finding himself in the finals for a premier event for the third time in a row. A second place finish, I believe, at a Grand Open, a first place finish at a Pro Tour, and now, once again, either going to finish second or first at another Grand Open. So Caleb is on fire. But let's see if he's going to actually cruise into this next momentous win, or if Frisco is going to take that flaming fire roll and douse it. Become the fireman, hose it down, stop the momentum. We're about to see. We got a handshake. A handshake of TCG sportsmanship. We are here for it. Frisco versus Caleb.
Yeah, let's not forget, with Caleb coming off of the fact that just 2 weeks ago, he got that second place win in the last, tour. So it's just oh gosh, he's coming back. He wants to be able to win this one. He's like, nah, I'm already going to Pro Tour, but I'm gonna make sure I submit myself as the king. And we never know, he could go into the next Pro Tour winning that whole thing out too. This is going to be crazy. This is going to be crazy to see. I mean, honestly, we know Frisco was able to do so much and be able to get to the end there of what he wanted to do. So I'm very excited for this. We see Frisco looking at Caleb's deck list right now, trying to see, what possibly he didn't see last time or things of that nature. Just get a little familiar with it beforehand, from your own perspective, what do you think about this matchup going in? What do you think will be the deciding factor? Would it be maybe an Elk? Would it be maybe Dinah? Which one do you think will probably become the end goal game ender for this?
Well, first and foremost, Elk can always be something that they both can rely on if, and I mean if their Enterprise fortresses are set up. If Enterprise Fortress gets set up, then Elk and who has the most of them will potentially be a win con. But the thing here is that with both players not in danger of time, but also not in danger of being really rushed out of the game unless the board just presents it. Like you get enough zero drops, you get the Axe Spiders early, you might be able to just push your opponent to an uncomfortable life position. But the whole point for me is that both of these decks are going to be able to do what they want to do this game. So, I mean, we're going to be seeing a lot of setup, I believe, in the first couple turns, followed by the like just decks putting out their best cards and clashing against each other. Slight flex over here from Caleb with the Metal Soul Core out over here, but no, this is going to be an interesting matchup, and I think also at the same time, Enterprise Fortress Dragon and who can nail that card on the board first and core it up is going to be a monumental factor this game right here because until Netherworld is up with 3 cores on it, this is just going to be a card that turns off most of your counterplay and board, interruption going into the other deck. So there's going to be a lot of back and forth, and we're going to see a lot of cases where who sees which pivotal bomb card because their lists are running most of the same top end.
Yeah. The only thing that we see any difference of is the fact that Caleb, which is probably really great for this matchup, runs the 2 Vulture in the main and as well as 1 more Black Jaguar than, Frisco will be running. Frisco is also running the Greynar in his main. I think honestly, just seeing that those are really the only 2 differences. Just everything else other than Nexus, Caleb has been opting, at least it seems, towards having the Namen City. Yeah, like it looks like the Namen City is what he's opted in to play first instead of the Rocket City, not even wanting to have that card in the deck. While as though Frisco has 2 Rocket City and 2 of the Namen City. So it's going to be really great to see how this plays out. We do see the Shadow Elemental coming down forward. Now, I don't really know the hand right now. Actually seeing this 2 Burning Force, is that 2 Elk? Wow, if that's 2 Elk, he might be trying to, hopefully he could set up with that later on. I don't, we already know sometimes you can just brick. Sometimes you won't be able to get everything you really want, but he will be using those cores to be able to get that out. But he also has just to sacrifice that elemental. That is kind of a feels bad moment right there. What do you think about that?
I think honestly, as a top tier player, it's not a feels bad moment because yes, you got rid of the cards you played, but you traded that card that you played turn 1 for your opponent potentially untapping and being able to play a massive threat this early on, such as the Namen Guard, or there's just you had no idea what was going to come out of his hand the following turn, but turn 2 is potentially going to be a massive, valuable body. And in a game where you guys are playing the same cards, you cannot afford for your opponent to pull ahead that far. So yes, you've just gone back into the board being equalized again until this monster came out. But I think that was just preferable than to letting your opponent just play something incredibly huge. Now, Caleb does have the follow-up to that. If you can't go out and play a Namen Guard or something huge, go ahead, play out an Axe Spider and see where that goes because it's definitely a good card. He's also got the first damage on the board, so it begins. But we are seeing another 0 drop. And I do think those are 2 Elks in his hand. So his hand is kind of top end heavy already. But he is just going to immediately go, you know what? We got the reduction and we are going to burn these 0 drops and we're going to get this on the board. So this is going to be very interesting because essentially Caleb has 1 turn to out this before it can start putting in work. And every turn past then, he's going to need the Dream Bomb deal with this because Elk is not going to be attacking. It can't be hit by Avalanche. Elk is just going to be sitting there cored up being passive. So he definitely needs to see the Dream Bomb. And I can't tell if he has it in hand.
Well, we do know from looking at the hand sizes too that Caleb, because of the fact, I think, Frisco has 4 cards left in hand. We have Caleb at a good amount right now. He's going to be sitting there pretty well off. I mean, he might have some instances where he, sometimes you could still see the answers in those 4 cards in your hand. But right now, seeing how this goes, he is going to put out that snow bit just right then and there. But, with you dealing with this game, oh, wow, he's going to return the favor with his old elk, taking out, just making sure that, hey, listen, you can start the clock for me, but I guarantee you I will be the one to make sure that your life hits 0 first. I mean, honestly, this is going to be such a really great game. Looking at it right now, I do see that Caleb does have the dream bomb in hand. It will be a situation to see what Frisco is going to really be planning. We do see he does have the Black Jaguar, and he does also have the one and only suppression. Not only suppression, but I just got to say it's such a great card that honestly at this point, seeing it will be able to stave off a lot of different situations, at least dealing with elk. But if he just sits and takes the passive route, we will have to see how this game ends up going.
So the way he's set up, yeah, you don't want to go for the double elk right now, right? You just don't.
Of course.
And he's pushing with this elk. He's got suppression in hand, so you already know that he's going to be able to draw out just the attacks with suppression. But of course, he has to know that Caleb runs 4 main deck copies of Dream Bomb. So the next turn, he's going to be able to untap. He's going to be able to Dream Bomb before he gets burnt. Now, the thing about this, though, is it kind of does fit into a certain way. If Caleb Dream Bombs during this turn, he does not have the cores to put any of his spirits at a comfortable range. So that's going to be something that is should probably be noted. Now, the other thing, though, is I think a lot of this game is going to wholeheartedly depend on when Frisco decides to drop that second elk. Because if he puts 2 elks on the field, that Dream Bomb is going to feel a lot worse than if he only puts out 1. Now, if that first one doesn't, or if that first one gets bounced to the hand before the second one gets played, that's going to be a huge shift of momentum. That's going to feel very good on Caleb's side, and it's going to put Frisco on the back foot. But yeah, this is going to be a very interesting turn for me.
I mean, I'm thinking that Axe Spider Swing was perfect, being able to say, hey, I'm going to get that 1 suppression out of your hand, or you're going to have to take this life. Honestly, I feel like this was just better off for him. I am very, very, excited to see this. I know a lot of people might not be, but for me, seeing this mirror, I want to be able to see what these 2 players can do against each other for it. But that Dream Bomb is coming straight down to be able to say, hey, listen, I'm not going to be taking any damage this turn from not being able to hit you now. Granted, I mean, this is a perfect setup. I think this is just a good way to say, all right, we'll be fine right now. You're going to have to deal with something right now. So, let's, just ask one question for you. What do you think right now for Frisco? How is it going to be looking like? I mean, he has a lot of cores. He is starting to get a hand. He is starting to, he has that 2 elks in his hand. What do you think is going to go down for this turn?
Well, that was the cripple punish. That was the cripple punish hard. He not only committed to that 1 elk, but when that elk did block or did swing because the suppression was there, telegraph and suppression, it just locked in the play from Caleb even harder to force the suppression, force the cores out, force the other card in hand, and then get Dream Bomb. So essentially, Frisco lost a lot of momentum trying to put that play in, only to have all of that kind of fall down on his face. Now, the other part about this right now is that Frisco is also at 2 life in the mirror versus his opponent's 5 with his opponent's established board. 2 elk resolutions, actually, yeah, 2 elk resolutions will just completely end up ending this game 1, which is very scary because from what I can see, Frisco does not have access to a Dream Bomb. The best he has is playing Aegis and eventually setting up Aegis's bounce effect, which only will proc if Caleb swings. And if he plays something like Aegis, yes, he may get a life back, but Frisco just has to not die, or Caleb just has to not die right now, just with that elk on board. As long as he can not die for 3 turns, he's likely got this. And that puts Frisco in a very weird position. And then on top of that fact, the other thing is that Caleb is starting to solidify his board state into a position where he can swing out every turn, knowing that if he does damage, he does damage. And if you can't deal it back, you're going to die. So they both had similar game plans with what they wanted to do with the elk. But Caleb just had the Dream Bomb, he had the Axe Biter, and he did a very, very, very good punish on committing to the elk suppression play. So we're here right now, and this is going to feel very, very, very bad for Frisco going into this next few turns. And seeing as that Axe Biter, or seeing as that Caleb does play 4 of his oh, interesting. Okay, yeah. Seeing as that Caleb does play 4 Dream Bombs, there's no telling that a draw or two may not just see this elk come back to the hand. But he did deal a damage. He was able to test the hand and see that there was not a suppression or an infinity shield there. If there was, I feel like it just would have been ripped immediately. So yeah, or even an avalanche. Like I think that he just really did test that hand, and he got a lot of crucial information. Caleb may have like 4 or 5 cards in there, but now Frisco knows that there are 0 copies of certain cards in there. Because I think at 2 life, it would have just been a no-brainer to use one of those cards to stop the damage. Actually, no, wait. Sorry. Elk only had how many cores on it? I'm getting ahead of myself.
I think it had the 3.
Oh, it had the 3? Okay, cool. So
maybe, I don't know. It might have just had 2. I know the Soul Core, the Champion Soul Core can blend in a lot.
Right there. So now we've got a second elk on board, and now the things are going to start cooking because Frisco essentially has 1 turn, a singular turn to try to address this board. And if this board is not addressed by the time Caleb gets his cores back, Frisco just loses game 1.
Yeah, this is going to be very difficult. I mean, we're looking at high level gameplay right now. I mean, at the end of the day, it just shows that sometimes it really is a high roll for some decks. We're dealing with 2 different decks. Not 2 different. I'm so sorry. 2 of the same deck, but at the end of the day, 2 different players. We're dealing with 2 different mindsets right now, but we actually will be seeing how those, mindsets win them the games. I mean, we're seeing similar things. At the end of the day, Caleb has 3 cards left in hand. He did have a second elk, but so does Frisco. Frisco also has it, but at the end of the day, Frisco is at that lower life right now. So it is putting Frisco in a more dire situation to be able to close out this game. With what we do see he has a Dyna in hand, but there has been no Nexus played. I think that's honestly smart. I don't even think any of them have a Nexus to be played, but to lessen the fact of like, oh yeah, if there's a Dyna being like to be played, that would be over for me. But we might. Ooh, what is he gonna do? Is that what I think it is? Aegis? Yeah, baby. Aegis coming down to be able to say, hey, I'm just going to go right back to 3. I really want to make sure that I can live some more so I can do something against you. This is good. I think this is a good thing to have done right now.
He extended his turn. He extended his clock by perhaps 1 turn, and he's also ensuring that if his opponent swings, he's getting one of those elks off the board. I think therein, though, lies the problem because Caleb can just pour up and pass, and it doesn't really matter that much. He can just core up and pass. He doesn't need to swing. He's got 4 life still, and he hasn't played a single Aegis. So he's got the cash to spend right now. And meanwhile, Frisco has to deal damage next go. He has to see a Dream Bomb. He has to deal damage next go, or he just loses through burn damage. If he has another Aegis, that'd be a whole nother thing because he could extend the clock by 1 more turn. But Frisco is fighting to. If Frisco is fighting hard just to stay in the game right now. He's not fighting to win right now, and that's always a bad place to be in the mirror because that means that your opponent has pulled ahead of you so far.
and these players don't have to worry about a clock, so this could go on depending on like the thought process. They don't have to worry about what will happen if I lose this game, and then I might not be able to finish it out. They can play each game out as long as they want, but they want to make sure they make the right plays. So both of these players are really thinking. I think Caleb is thinking about if he wants to play an Axe Spider on the field, and he will be playing the Axe Spider down. I feel like this is just great for him at this point. I think he's gonna just he's trying to build up that wall so the clock is even more secure for him. I mean, Caleb is sitting at 4 life right now, so he is pretty well off, like you said, compared to Frisco right now, who's just trying to live, just trying to be able to say, hey, I think I'll be okay if I can hold off. But it is scary because sometimes you're just not able to in the right way that you want to. I mean, as we look, Caleb's been able to set up his field as optimally as possible. And this is great. This is going to be great for Caleb. Caleb was trying to get this win out, and Caleb is looking like the favorite for the game 1 win right now.
Yeah, and what we're looking for, or we're looking at right here, is that Caleb has set up his board, and I think that telegraphs that he doesn't have the Infinity Shield or Suppression. Putting the other Axe Spider out means that I believe he's trying to close out game this one turn, and he's also trying to make sure that even if Frisco has another body in his hand, maybe even 2 bodies, he's not getting past this wall of bodies. I do think that this play has telegraphed that Caleb doesn't have much stopping power outside of just blocking right now. But if this wall is the wall it needs to be, then in that case, yes. But is that a Black Jaguar in hand? And
it is.
Axe Spider, 2 Axe Spiders at level 1.
Mm-hmm. He could do the play. Oh wait.
Yeah, there we go.
Scooping up going into game 2.
Yeah, because I mean, like honestly, he could have Black Jaguar to put the 2 Axe Spiders down, since they're both beneath the threshold. Mm-hmm. Wait, is Black Jaguar 3,000 or 2,000? I'm sorry,
2,000.
Oh, an Axe Spider
can't do that.
Level 1,
yeah,
right?
you're right. At 3,000, right?
3,000.
I think it is. Am I wrong? It might be 2K.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, he's at 3K.
So it wasn't ever. You said what?
Can't Black Jaguar.
Yeah. So there was just nothing he could do. And like I said, like Caleb just set up his board to not be swung past so that he could just burn him for 2. So that was actually really strong. I think something that really is to be said about that is that they both opened up with their game plan in hand. Elk versus the mirror that you were likely not being able to swing past. The only difference, though, is that having access to Dream Bomb was a complete time walk for you guys that understand that term. Frisco tried to stay on board or get on board first by playing that Elk. But Caleb was able to play Elk and then respond with Dream Bomb to completely stun Frisco's just forward momentum. And then by the time he was playing his first one again, there was already a second one on the field, and you just saw the snowball effect from there. So that's going to be rough. Looking at the list, though, right? Frisco has 2 Gregormers, 2 Vultures, 2 Inescapable Avalanches, 2 Derm Dynams, a 3rd Rocket City, and then a 3rd Infinity Shield in the side. And honestly, knowing that your opponent is playing,
he took out Infinity Shield, and he took out one of the elementals. At least from what I've seen from here.
Well, when it comes to Infinity Shield, like just seeing how that game plan went, it may be a risk to take them out, but you just saw both players wholeheartedly committed to not killing through damage, but killing through burn. So taking out the Infinity Shields may not be bad because they don't necessarily stop what's happening from happening going down. Now, Inescapable Avalanche, that is like a card that may do some work because you did see those times where they tried to get the pincer effect. Like, I'm going to punch at you, knowing you can't break my board, knowing you're about to get burned next turn. So I do see Inescapable Avalanche being a good option. Durn Dynam may also be a good option to put in. We didn't see Netherworld, and Netherworld is pretty much the only Nexus that Vulture can hit. So I don't necessarily think that that's going to go in. The Burning Force is probably do enough, especially with sometimes lower cores, allowing you to use Burning Force on things that normally wouldn't be able to be destroyed. And then on Caleb's side, he's got a third copy of Infinity Shield, 2 more Durned items on top of the 2 he has in deck, 3 Gregamers, 1 Core Drain, 2 Beldegors, and 1 more Black Jaguar on top of the 2 that he already plays. Black Jaguar is kind of moot in the mirror. Beldegor isn't really doing too much in the mirror either. Core Drain, I mean, you're not really getting rid of Axe Spider. There are certain things that can touch. But it's kind of weird because they have been being kind of aggressive with these Elks. But normally, if Elk is just sitting on the passive defense, you're never going to be able to core drain it. But the way they've been playing with Elks, it's possible. To be honest, looking at Caleb's list, his list seems very optimized for the mirror.
Yep. I think that's mostly what he's been practicing against, just to make sure that he doesn't have to deal with it. Well, in a bad way, at least for that. We did also see Frisco take out, like you said, like took out the snow bits, took out the Infinity Shields. I don't know what the side in was, but we did see what he took out. So that is something to note, at least just the fact that he only now has the white elementals in his deck right now. And they are going to be going into game 2. I mean, honestly, looking at this, you know, Caleb is being very prepared for this. He's been practicing a lot, but we know Frisco has been doing so well this tournament as well. We're seeing this, you know, onslaught of just people just going and saying, hey, listen, yeah, you see that life of yours? Yeah, we're just gonna burn it for right now. We're gonna put that threat out that you're not gonna be able to deal with. And they've been doing it so efficiently. I mean, we're seeing what happens when you have 2 Axe Spiders go head to head against each other. And sometimes it does matter about what you draw. Now, from what it looks like right here, we did see a Dream Bomb in Frisco's hand pop out a little bit. I couldn't really see the front card. I don't know if you were able to make it out, Uni, or not.
I'm paying attention.
Yeah.
Newman Guard. I think
it might be.
That might be Enterprise, and
it looks like. Is that Namagard? That might be Namagard in the front. It looks like Namen.
I can't tell if that's City Namagard or Namagard, the spirit.
Yeah, because the 2 look so similar. It's so, at least from the top down. But yeah, I mean, honestly, we do know he has a Dream Bomb in hand, so he will be able to stave off for some instances.
Wait a second. Not Caleb needing to mulligan.
Ooh, you know, sometimes the mulligans need it, but you know, we only seen it one other time from Ryan. Ryan Myers is the only one I think that we've seen on stream do that whole mulligan thing. But at the end of the day, sometimes you have to. I think we did see a glimmer of Ice Shield in Caleb's hand, so that might have been worth it for him. Yeah, we did see the Ice Shield pop up, so that might have been fully worth it for him. But oh my gosh, Namen City is coming right down. You know, maybe Frisco might be returning the favor with Burning Force. I don't think he has it in his hand actually right now though. So Burst coming down as well. Oh, let's see how this goes. I think that is a Namen guard in the front, though, that we can finally confirm. So we're going into this, going straight into
Elk. That is exactly what you don't want to see. That is why these are so important to Burning Force. Once again, Frisco might be on the back foot. Now, he has the Dream Bomb.
Yes.
But the main issue here is that tempo is tempo, momentum is momentum. If he Dreams Bombs this Elk, he is not getting rid of it. He's just bouncing back to hand. And without something to also get rid of the Namengard City, he is just simply going to be able to drop it the following turn. Now, I think there's an Elk in the back of his hand, if I'm not mistaken. I think I just saw that.
It looks like,
Yeah, that's rough.
It's rough. I mean, but honestly, look, we're in the final match. This is going to be the one for it all. And it's looking like Caleb is trying to really take it home right now. I mean, he knows the matchup. He's not playing against another deck. He's playing, a different deck. He's playing against Axe Spider. He's playing something very familiar. He's playing against something that he's seen multiple times. Whoa, we get the Netherworld being dropped down from the heavens. So at this point right now, we do see the fact that because the Netherworld's there, he does have a burst, in some instances, it is very scary.
He was like, is he gonna come off the field or?
Yeah, like it's okay. It's okay. He's thinking real hard.
The funniest thing about this, no. For me, the funniest thing about this Netherworld is that he sided out his Infinity Shields. And that automatically makes me feel like he's thinking this is not going to be a game decided by swings, but Netherworld thrives off of swings.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
this is going to be very interesting.
I mean, at this point, he probably just wanted to make sure that he had the protection just in case he tried to go with that. I mean, look, you have Netherworld in the deck is not bad to have. You're completely right though. Like him keeping it in there when he took out those Infinity Shields. This is kind of like eyebrow raiser. But
the Netherworld is going to be more important than Infinity Shield. But it's it's interesting. I can't quite tell his full hand, so I want to know what he could have played over that. But Dream Bomb going to be able to bounce the Namengard. Unfortunately, cannot bounce anything else alongside of it, and that's actually pretty painful because at this point, it's one of those. I'm not going to say too little, too late, but the board is established. When he gets his cores back, he is going to be able to be
another one.
Bit bossy.
There's another Dream Bomb and an Ice Shield that we see at least. That is kind of crazy. I mean, he will be able. Oh, and Aegis is right there in the front as well, peeking out. We do see Namen City. He had a Namen City in his hand as well, just in case he wants to play that to be able to reduce the cost of Aegis later. Is he thinking about playing it? Maybe.
Well, is there a second depths in there?
I couldn't see. I couldn't make that out actually. Trying our best to see.
But
ooh, it may look like it. I do see Namen City. He might be trying to think about playing Namen City for that Aegis turn, probably in another turn later. And that is Enterprise in his hand, so he will be able to. Oh yeah, and there, yep, there it is. But he does. And is that Dinah? Oh my gosh! So he does have a hand that he's ready, for that late game. I mean, if he is able to get it out on the field, that would be great for him. Especially since he has the Dream Bomb, he will be able to bounce the Namen City back if he tries to play it again, or he will be able to bounce Elk to be able to stave off death for another turn because we don't know. He might have it. It might not have.
Does he have a second Dream Bomb?
Doesn't I don't think it might
set the Dream Bomb in his burst and then just use it to bounce the
he does have a second Dream Bomb. It looked like at least.
So this is going to be a little rough because Briscoe's hand is late game stacked, but I don't necessarily think he's making it to late game. This is just what I was saying in the first game. They're using Caleb is using a pincer tactic. He is poking you in the face up front, knowing that if you cannot deal him damage, he is going to burn you with Elk up back. He did set Ice Shield, I believe, but in a perfect world, Caleb could swing twice next turn, take him down to 1, and then just pass, knowing that maybe a suppression backing what he has is just going to prevent any damage from being done, and he burns him for game. But Caleb is definitely trying to close this out, and I honestly think this is kind of funny because, against every other deck, you're like, my deck will never die. And then against this deck in the mirror, Caleb's like, I'm just not trying to play all this. He said 2-hour finals, miss me with that. And this is very, very interesting. So he was about to play the Namengard Frisco, and then he's reconsidering. The issue here is that he definitely needs to pull a damage this turn to keep his life healthy.
Yeah.
And he instead opts to pass, which really makes me wonder what's in his hand.
Yeah, I mean, looking fully at his hand, we do see the Dream Bomb at the tail end of the back of the. So he will be able to do that, but he is probably thinking he could die. In these upcoming turns, he could. It might not be a long time left for him. For this, I mean, we do see that he does have Namen City there, so he might be able to play something again. We do see Caleb putting that burst down. Since we really can't really see at all what Caleb's hand is, it is going to be a little difficult to really tell. I think we did see a glimmer of suppression. Oh, but we will see Snowbit come out. Snowbit is just going to be sitting there being menacing. Menacing as ever on the board. We do get the draw from Netherworld though off of that. So you know what? This is looking very, very exciting in terms of the fact that we don't know what Frisco will do to be able to get out of this, but he does have a good hand for some of these cards. We do know he has a Dinah. We do know he has an Elk. We do know he has an Enterprise in hand and a Dream Bomb. But the other cards are kind of, we got to really think, but is he going to play that Dream Bomb that he had?
Yeah. Yep. I'm looking nice. I'm looking at chat and, so we were saying that he's 1 core short. Signal Collectible said he's 1 core short. So that is essentially why he can play the elephant. He ended up having to pass. But looking at this, he was able to dream bomb. He did take 2 damage though, and like I said, this is the danger point. At some point, he's going to need to slam that Aegis down on the board because if not, he's out of the game the moment Caleb lands and sticks his elk.
And that's going to take a little bit, but it's not going to take too long because we see right now he is counting his cores, trying to rev up for that instance, but he will be putting down the other ice shield. I think that is an inescapable avalanche in his hand right now. And it might at the tail end of it. Oh, that would be really good to see just in case, he does try to swing in with that Namen guard. He won't be able to do what he wants to do with it, next turn if he even tries to. But yeah, that is an escapable avalanche. Okay. I don't know what that card is right there. I know that we.
Oh, sorry.
What? No, I was trying to look at that one. Is that Aegis?
No, it's this is just very interesting. He had to burn an ice shield to stay at 2, which I definitely believe in. Playing Namen guard right now at 2, he can afford to play Namen guard. The other thing that's going to be interesting is, he's going to want to start pushing some damage to get himself on the board, and getting the refresh step does not hurt either. Allows him to play with all the cards he has in his hand. He's at an advantage right now because the Namen guard plus the Netherworld is going to be able to fully utilize the new cards that he's getting per swing, per block. The other thing that is kind of just sitting here weighing heavy on me is he needs to be able. Well, when his opponent swings with Namen guard, there's a chance where he is able to use an escapable avalanche to bounce it back, which is going to be a massive tempo swing. But this is a little. He's still not out of the water yet, despite having Netherworld depths and Namen guard on the field. He still is on the back foot, in my opinion, because he already knows Elk is a looming threat. His opponent already has his own Namen guard. Everything on his opponent's board has insurance right now. Oh, and he's going to catch suppression.
Yeah. It's going to make sure.
Force it.
Is he have something else? Or are we just going to trade right there? I think he's looking at his hand for it.
Doesn't his elephant only have one? How many cores on his elephant? Oh, yeah, because it goes up.
Mm-hmm.
Goes up in power. So that's actually pretty important, too. He's going to just eliminate the only real swinging threat on his opponent's side of the field. That is just very powerful.
And with him not having Namen guard at this point in time, he has enough cores, play down that Enterprise again, be able to put him back on the clock. Now we do know that he does have the ice shield in the burst zone, so this is going to be fun. Look at this right now. We're seeing 2 Axe Spider decks that are really going head to head, and most of the plays right now really don't even revolve around Axe Spider. It revolves around the other big threats of the deck. It is going to be something very interesting to see how this goes. Honestly, we do know Frisco does have the Aegis in his hand to be able to go back up in life, so that would be really great for him. It would be something that can stave off, but we are seeing that at least right now, like you've already said before, Frisco is trying to survive slowly but surely. Caleb has been doing such a great job at staying at a high life for him, but making sure that he is taking away at his opponent's life one by one. So this is going to be very interesting to see. Oh, wow. We do see the Namen City come back down after being bounced before. So right now, this is it. This is it. We're going to see probably the Elk get played here right now, and then just go right. Oh, here it is. Elk's coming back, baby.
Yeah, he very much so needed that. The Namen guard city needed to come down because playing these at almost raw reduction is not it.
Of course.
He only had, I think, nine cores, and so this thing alone would have just come out. But now he has more reduction. He has this, and again, we're in a position where if Elk is not answered, he's going to have a much stronger next turn. I think I just peeped another Elk in his hand as well. It's towards the right hand. So he might be going for the same setup he had in that last turn. And unfortunately for Frisco, again, if he does not have a Dream Bomb, he might be looking at a 2 to 3 turn clock based off of what I think I saw in Caleb's hand.
Yeah, this is just going to be very interesting. I mean, we do know he has an inescapable avalanche, but I don't think Caleb was going to ever really take a turn where he is going to swing. You know, we do see Mammoth, you know, Aegis Mammoth there. We do know he has an Enterprise. We do know that I believe those are Dynas in his hand as well. I don't know if that's just Dyna or Netherworld, but the Aegis will be coming down right now. Aegis coming down will be able to gain him that extra life right now so that he, you know, he holds himself back for dying for a little bit longer. But I do believe you were right about that. That is, I think, another world in his hand. So this is going to be very interesting. I mean, at this point, I mean, with this game, it does look like Frisco is trying to keep himself alive, but I don't know how well that is going to work against such an onslaught just from burn alone. I mean, that clock will always tick, so you have to use so many spells to be able to combat this and probably attack in situations when you really don't want to attack. So this is going to be wild. This is going to be wild. I think, honestly, you know, just like last game, Caleb is showing the expertise of, you know, him just being a axe spider, you know, I'll say player. He knows his deck. He knows what to do with it. You know, we'll see Dyna come down. Best boy Dyna is just going to be entering the field, trying to get away at, you know, just getting away at Caleb's life. And I think this is going to be great. We're going to see a swing in, getting that soul core out the way. So, you know, if he does even want to think about suppression will be off the table for next turn. But we do know he has that ice shield in there, so he'll be fine going in the next turn.
He's able to take this. He can't afford to let Aegis turn sideways and not be able to block next turn. But we're just in a position where the Netherworld is nice, but Caleb, like I said, I'm fairly certain that Caleb has another elk, and that's just going to be able to put Frisco in check. Not checkmate yet, but definitely check.
Yeah, this is just going to be very, very interesting. I'm looking at this whole thing and thinking to myself, like, what we're seeing right now, at least, is just to prove to you that, like, with this deck, it's so versatile, and having a unit that's able to at least go swing in and say, hey, I could just make sure that I'm unblockable and all these other units will be unblockable, so I'll just be able to chip away at your life, while also seeing how Elk is just like, hey, I'll just sit here all game and just create such a wall that you won't be able to pass by me at all, like, unless you have Dream Bomb to be able to stave off. But it will make it a little difficult because, like you said, I think he does have that second Elk, and if he plays that second Elk, it's going to be a very, very, I'll say easier game for Caleb to deal with right now, you know, in terms of being able to win. You know, getting that Elk on the board is very, very important for him.
I think Elk may be a next turn play. I mean, could be wrong, but yeah, there we go. I think Elk is a next turn play simply because this is sick. Simply because like putting it down now, I don't even think he'd be able to core it up the way he needs to. But the way he has it now, he's going to be able to pay the soul core and then swing in. And I mean, he gets a couple of shots in right now.
He does have an escapable avalanche too.
Yep. If he drops his opponent to 1 life, then this might actually just be it. With the ice shield set face down, he could literally just kill the 0 drop and then just burn him.
Yeah, this is going to be very difficult. I mean, honestly, we're looking at this right now, and at least with this whole thing, you know, it will be Frisco's chance to say, hey, listen, let's see what I want to do. Oh, taking it.
No ice shield. Okay.
We do. I mean, he has 2 inescapable avalanches in his hand right now, so he probably is trying to use it on the Elk.
Yeah, that's tasty bait. He's definitely trying to be the skillful baiter, trying to goad his opponent into swinging with that Elk so he could bounce it back. But I think Caleb's too sharp for that. Yeah,
I think he'll be fine. I think he knows, like, hey, listen, I'm not going to even try to do with this right now. He is thinking right now. I mean, he only has a few amount of cores, but he's going to take it. Yep. Caleb. Yep. Kayla's just, making sure he's doing really well. He knows, he's like, I'm not playing against this. I know you have those avalanches in your hand right now. I know you're trying to sit pretty with him right now. I'm not going to let this happen. Well, I mean, at the end of the day, he is at 2 life right now. This is the start of a huge thing right now, but he does have another ice shield. So he's buying himself another turn. How long do you think he has until it gets to a point? I mean, he might be able to, like you said, next turn, Caleb might be able to play that elk.
So this is a 2-turn clock, but Absolute Ice Shield does say burst when you lose life. It doesn't say get attack step. So there's a couple of things that are going to be kind of funny. It's funny because he had no way of baiting that even further. Like if he had just flipped over Ice Shield and then just not paid for it, Caleb would have smelled that. So it's just kind of one of those things where you're like, all right, fine, we're kind of off the turn. And I'm very interested. Like another Aegis would be very, very strong right here. But this is one of those moments where Caleb is playing calm and collected. He doesn't have Netherworld. He is clearly not the one drawing all the cards. And yet, even so, he seems to be the person in the commanding spot. But Frisco has an entire grip. I see multiple copies of multiple things. Enterprise is finally hitting the board.
Here it comes.
Oh, okay.
Listen, Enterprise hitting the board is a lot. I mean, honestly, usually love to see Enterprise with Elk, but Enterprise with Dinah is just as scary as that. I mean, honestly, you're going to be able to safely have your unit sit there and just relax. He is thinking about the core theft coming down, making sure that he can at least take out one of those units. He's going to make sure he takes out that Dinah, of course. He's going to be discarding that. Oh, we do see a Vulture in his hand too. That's funny. And then Greynar will be discarded off of that.
No, I'm kidding. Yeah. He said, get out of here. He has to do that. He has to do that. He has a pretty solid wall of defense if his opponent can't just make his stuff unblockable and start punching. So I think he wants to keep that Ice Shield preserved, if that's what he said, using his own Derm Dyna. I'm here for it.
Yeah, he can't do anything. He can't really bounce or anything. Oh, he will be using Ice Shield right now. I think that was really great. I think that was a great play right there, just to make sure it's like, yeah, we're not dealing with all that. But yeah,
here we go. Well, he's burning him, and now they're talking about the burst.
Yep, it goes. Yeah, I know since it goes straight to the trash. He's not able to then put his life back from that Ice Shield.
Oh my gosh! Because there's no core in his reserve.
That's
busted.
At this point, it just is looking like Caleb might be able to walk away with the win.
Oh my gosh. Now look, there are generally not game-breaking snafus like this in the finals, but like that one is soul crushing. Frisco was like, well, okay, burst when I lose a life. And then Caleb was like, well, congratulations, you have nothing in your reserve.
Yep.
Just place a core from your reserve into your life you made and play. Yeah,
he won. He got it. I think Caleb, he has the other elk right there. I think, Caleb, actually Frisco just knows that Caleb just wins the game at this point.
There's nothing short of double Dream Bomb that does anything.
Oh my gosh. And you know what's crazy? I mean, I'm sitting here and I don't want to count Frisco out too bad, but it's looking real dire. But I'm sitting here. You told me to get my popcorn ready. I ain't even finished the whole bowl yet. And I'm sitting here looking at how well this goes. I mean, honestly, we're seeing it. Woo! The other Aegis is coming down for him to go back up in life. Wait a minute.
Watch him play third Aegis.
I might be able to finish it. I might be able to finish this. I might be able to finish this.
I would literally die. 1, 2, 3, 4.
We going for it. Look at this. I mean, honestly. I didn't even expect that to really go down, but look, he made it work. He made it possible for him to say, hey, look, I'm still in this game. Do not count me out. I think that was fully needed because it was looking like Frisco was losing this game this turn. I mean, honestly, he's going to try to swing in right now, but we do think that is an Ice Shield there right there. So I don't know how well it's going to work out. I think this game.
I mean, the part that was rough to me is he bounced the Durham Dynam over the Elk, and it's kind of wild because I'm like, Durham Dynam you can't block, but like there are more outs to Durham Dynams. I guess Durham Dynam makes your entire field unblockable
Yeah.
at this point with 3 Nexuses, but
Yeah.
it's just rough because like if he had bounced the oh, that's it. If he had bounced the elk, he could have probably still won.
Yeah.
But now, see, look, he's going to at least be able to survive because of that. He recognizes his mistake immediately, and he's going to be able to get on. Now the issue here is that if Caleb doesn't have another ice shield or a way to get rid of Durham Dynam, he is the one on the back burner this.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, it's looking really weird. I mean, we're seeing this back and forth, but we see Frisco does have that board presence, but he is at that 1 life. It is going to be very, very funny to see what goes on right now. I mean, we already know how this, works out usually with the Ag Spider meta, going off like this and the Ag Spider deck going off like this, but I think right now with what Caleb has on his field, I think he still is great in a good position, but because of the fact that Dyna is just going to be making 3 of his own units unblockable, it does start to put you in a very, very sticky situation right now. I mean, Enterprise is right there to be able to protect against bouncing, so he's not going to be able to really touch anything with Dyna right now because of the fact that, he's basically protected. But Aegis will be coming down. He will be getting a card off of that. And wonder what that card was, if it helped out in any type of situation.
Look, the main issue here for me is that there are 2 inescapable avalanches and there's no Enterprise on his opponent's side of the field. So if Caleb starts getting punchy for any reason, he's going to lose parts of his board presence. On top of that, with 3 Nexuses on board and potentially the ability to get cores back and maybe even play another Netherworld if he so chooses, Frisco is going to be able to make a whole bunch of things unblockable, and without an ice shield, there's nothing that Caleb can do about that. Unless he has an ice shield, none of his cards are going to actually touch Enterprise or touch any of these things. So right here and now, you're seeing the Burning Force on a Nexus to lessen the amount of unblockables that can happen. But once again, this is exactly what I was talking about. Frisco has another Nexus. So he might have just staved off game, but he's still probably going to get dropped down low.
Oh, baby. We'll be getting Axe right out on the field, putting the Soul Core right onto Aegis. I mean, honestly, look, if Frisco comes back from this game, that would just be so insane to see. I mean, it is Frisco's turn right now. We got to see what is going to go down. I think he should be in a really well positioned right now. I didn't really think it was looking real dire. Honestly, we just saw, how crazy it was going for this, but it was looking very dire at first.
This is check. This is check. He can't kill Caleb this turn, but he can put Caleb down to like 2. I don't think he has the cores to play his Netherworld and still be safe. He can put Caleb down to 2, and then as long as Caleb doesn't draw another ice shield, it's still pretty much game.
Yeah, this is going to be very difficult. I mean, honestly, with this right now, we've seen Caleb just put Frisco on the back foot for a long time for both games. And it has just been very impressive just to see just how well Caleb is able to deal with the mirror. I mean, he's just been able to have the units that he needs to. I think, like you said earlier, looking at his build, he really did build well for the mirror match because he just knew that he was going to be at top tables, and he knows what is going to be at top tables for it. Greynar.
Okay.
Yeah, Greynar going down, being the red-white armor unit. I mean, from the starter deck. I gotta keep saying starter deck has been showing off today with such great cards coming from it as well. I'm sorry, like looking at Elk, looking at Greynar and Dream Bomb, they're just such hype cards from the starter deck itself. But right now, that is going to look really weird for him. What do you think is going to go down, honestly, right now? His swing path.
The thing here, though, is with one of the Aegises left to block, right? Did he swing with something that was blockable?
He swung with Mammoth right now.
Okay, so now he's down to 2 bounces. I was about to say he has 3 bounces in hand. But he is down to. This is very interesting. He is now down to 2 bounces in hand. He has 2 inescapable avalanches. He needs to make sure that he can. Are both of those elks at 1 core?
Yeah. Yes.
That is gross. So Frisco has nothing to fear. He's swinging because he knows at some point his opponent is going to have to give him a card. Like, he's not willing to give up his Aegis. At some point, Axe Spiders have to get in the way of something.
Yeah, I think he did that just to make sure, he was like, hey, listen, I know I'm not going to be able to get your life down low right now. But yeah, Axe Spider is just going to have to be a chump blocker right now. I mean, look, we are going right into Caleb's turn. We do know that at least he does, Frisco does have the suppression. I think Caleb knows that Frisco has the suppression in his hand right now, to be able to say, hey, yep, got it good. What is this? Oh, Namengard coming down. He might start seeing those inescapable avalanches, be the downfall of Caleb. That would be very interesting to see. I mean, at the end of the day, we do know that he has 2 inescapable avalanches in his hand to be able to combat this right now and say, hey, listen, sorry, but you did the wrong play there.
Not even the wrong play. It's just the play that got punished. Like,
of course,
this is about to be very, very interesting. Not to mention, oh my gosh! So you've got 2. This is so much. This is so much. And he's also soft checked. Caleb's hand. He should have found that Caleb doesn't have Infinity Shield nor suppression based off of that last turn. And the crazy part is he's getting to a point where he should be able to. Okay, so that's going to be a little more rough. But he should be getting to a point soon where he's able to play 1 more Nexus and then just swing 3 times uncontested.
I mean, looking at this, where's the soul? Oh yeah, the metal soul core is on Namengard. So yeah, this is this is going to look very, very insane right now. I mean, look at it right now. We do have the Enterprises just staring down each other, saying, "Hey, we're both here." Like, I mean, look at this board right now. We do see 2 Elks on Caleb's side with the Mammoth, with the Namengard being at the full 4. And then we also see the Enterprise being there right now. We do know that he does have the 2 suppressions in his hand. But I mean, at the end of the day, he can't do anything with those inescapable avalanches now that Enterprise has hit the board. Oh wait, yes, he can, because it does get around armor. I'm so dumb. I forgot about that.
Yeah, it doesn't choose. It just targets.
Oh yeah, that is so good. That is so good.
Full Punisher right there. And it's also going to wake Caleb up. Caleb is now not going to be willing to swing with some of the things. And also, how many cores does Enterprise have on it? It doesn't have enough cores to give everything.
It does only have 2.
So so that's why Avalanche actually works. Now, the other thing that's crazy about this right now is that not only does Caleb know now that this is a problem, but Frisco at this point, even with Enterprise there, even with 2 Elk there, even if there's suppression or Infinity Shield in his hand,
taking his game,
there is a point where Frisco either just swings out or he just plays another Nexus and makes 3 things unblockable.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to be able to take this game out from him. I mean, look at it. He has the cards needed to be able to stave off. I mean, I think honestly he is in a better position right now than he was earlier on. I mean, he's at that 1 life, but that Dyna is putting in a lot of work for him. I mean, this is looking like Frisco's going to be in the game too. We will maybe have a game 3. Oh, that would be so crazy. I mean, looking at this board, I am just really shocked to see everything right now. I'm shocked to just see how well these 2 players have been playing the whole day out. It hasn't even gotten to the point where we're like, oh yeah, like this has just been such a one-sided game. At this point, Frisco showing, he said, hey, I'm in here. I'm in this to make sure that I make it to, game 3 so that I can hopefully win out against you for that game 3.
Yeah, this is interesting.
It's a lot right now. It's a lot right now. I mean, honestly, thinking about like just how well you can go into this, this is going to be something, to talk about. This is going to be something that we have to think about, going into, the Axe Spider meta because of the fact that Dinah is right now just killing the floor off right now. But
Oh,
Dream Bomb will be coming down to be able to bounce that other elk. Oh my gosh, we're just setting up for game right now. I think this is it. I think this might be Frisco being in the winning game for game 2. Yeah.
yeah. So now what? Enterprise is sitting there with multiple blocks. One, two, three. One, two, three, four, five. Just five swings. What did you just play back there?
Axe. He played Axe.
Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 swings to 3 blocks, 3 life left. The math adds up. Under Enterprise, there shouldn't be anything that can be done. You hit your blocks and then you end up, unless you have suppression or infinity shield, you just end up taking the 3 around your block.
Ooh, hold up. Let's see how it goes. Because, like I said, we don't know what's in Caleb's hand fully, but we do have an idea. So, at this point, it may be, the fact that Frisco may be taking it for this game. Who knows? It is a thought process we're trying to see right now. I know this is going to be something where we're going to have to be like, oh yeah, a little analyze what each other has. We already know what Frisco has in his hand, but we'll see that Dinah's turn sideways, hopefully. Oh wait, you're teasing me right now, man. Come on, I gotta know what we doing. All right, yeah, we swinging with the Dinah right now, taking that soul core out, being able to say, hey, listen, we're gonna make the other unblockable be the Axe Spider.
That's
Yep,
and that goes on to game 3.
Oh,
crazy how that works out. Well, so we are going into game 3. You'll love to see it. Now we are actually having a match. It is not a one-sided stomp. This is very, very interesting because Caleb came out of the gate swinging with that one. And for Frisco to stabilize and pull it back is just once again a testament to the skill of both players. But yeah, Frisco definitely got the shine right there.
Yeah, it takes a lot of thought process. I mean, at the end of the day, they're sitting on camera for this game. They're also both just just processing and analyzing the field and just thinking like, what could possibly happen right here. He's making sure he's trying to fully make sure that he'll be okay going into this. And I think he did such a great job of really just sitting back and being calm. I know he was a little hesitant on that last swing with the Dinah, but I feel like he was fine, but he was just having to, just think over it again. You don't want to, rush into something and then it be the wrong play. That would feel worse, especially when you lost game 1. He wants to make sure that he does everything right so that he can win this to go into game 3.
Yeah, being able to have his choice of turn definitely changes what he wants to do. I don't know if Frisco just ran to take a quick break or something because them cores is everywhere.
Yeah, I think he went to take a break just a little bit. I mean, that's fine. At the end of the day, I mean, going into this game, what do you really think is going to go down? I mean, we've seen Caleb have such a great start out for both of the games, even though he did lose that next game. It is going to be something to see. Like, how will Frisco be able to combat this? We've seen Frisco on the back foot for a long time, but he was able to take that game out. That Dinah was able to put in so much work. The age is coming down to be able to give him enough life to be able to, go into another turn, and he was able to last it out. Axe Spider decks, if they are able to last it out, sometimes they could go one or the other way. But Caleb wasn't able to clear it out in time enough to be able to win that game. I mean, this is just going to be great. This is just amazing. I'm loving it. I know the Axe Spider meter can be a lot for people because some people don't like to see it, but I'm loving how this goes for two players just going at it and showing their different skill sets, showing the different plays that they would make.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because they both have very, very strong setups that can really swing the opening momentum. Who opens up with the Namengard City? Whether the opponent opens up with the Burning Force to punish the Namengard City? Who can follow up with the fastest Elk? Whether the opponent has the Dream Bomb after that? Whether you have the Dream Bomb for your opponent's Elk after you use that Elk? There's a lot of checkpoints in this mirror. Linear plays with a lot of checkpoints. And I am interested to see because as we saw in game 2, this could be a long, drawn-out slugfest. But as we saw in game 1, this can end very quickly if you just have double Elk Dream Bomb. Like this is interesting.
Yeah, we're gonna go into game 3 with both players just on a situation where they're like, okay, this is the sudden death game. This is the game to end it. Whoever has a good hand. I mean, we did see last game that Caleb did have the mulligan for that game, but he was still doing really well even with that mulligan. So let's see what happens with this. I am very very excited. I think honestly having and showing like these good players go at each other, it's showcasing a lot with them. It's showcasing a lot of what Axspider can do. For some people who are watching right now, this could be, your chance to really either say, hey, look, I'm going to look at these decks and at least try to learn how to play against them, learn how I am going to, do well at my locals, or try, maybe for whatever other tournament you go to. I mean, honestly, these are this is actually the last one in before the Pro Tour happens, so you got to, going over to the Netherlands, these players are you're going to see so many great players going over there, and, they're preparing really well for it. I think this is going to be great. I think this is going to showcase a lot of different things that you can do with Axspider and different plays that you could probably practice against and saying, which, if I was in this position, what would I do? And, like I said, it takes time. It takes time to learn all of that. I'm not even fully sure about it for myself. So I'm really excited to see what these two great players bring out going into game 3 for the Battle Spirit Saga Grand Open in Monroe, PA.
Sir. So it looks like a keep on both parts. Briscoe's hand. See an Axspider. That card in front. It's shiny. Is that an elk?
I can't tell. It looks like elk. Yeah, it looks like elk.
Elk and Axspider is a pretty decent way to start that game.
Yeah, Caleb has Netherworld. Ooh, it looked like Frisco might be having a better hand here. I don't know. I don't know if that was two Netherworld that I saw in Caleb's hand or not. I ain't gonna say that's a bad card.
Starting out with Newmangard. He's like, done this day.
Yeah, we didn't.
Okay. Starting off with the Netherworld.
All right, let's get to it, guys.
Nah, look, the scary part about this to me is that if in this particular matchup, if I could start with one or the other, it would probably be Newmangard City. Like, Netherworld is very good, but when you open up Newmangard City Elk, there is so much you can do here. And that's exactly what we're seeing here. You're putting yourself on the table, and you are literally looking at your opponent and being like, do you have Dream Bomb? And if you, all right, he said, I don't care what you draw. He is actually risking giving his opponent more outs, or being able to, I mean, at that particular turn, it's not like he was playing Inescapable Avalanche. So luckily he was safe from that. He's not playing Dream Bomb either. And now that he has the first Elk on board, there is no way for Caleb to Dream Bomb him and Burning Force him at the same turn. And with that sort of like choke point in mind, he can be a little aggressive with this Elk, because the worst thing that's going to happen is that Elk gets bounced and he plays it again. There's simply just not enough cores to deal with Elk and the Nexus enabling Elk to come out at the same time. So Briscoe is sitting fairly pretty right here. Now, double Netherworld is going to make him a little more cautious about swinging in with these guys. However, once again, at this point, I don't even think he really needs to. He only has 2 cores under it, so luckily he's not going to get the burn off. Briscoe getting his cores back and drawing, and then we're going to see what he's able to do. First thing he's going to do, I mean, should be untap that Elk. But putting 3 cores underneath Elk allows him to actually burn his opponent next turn.
Yeah, this is going to be crazy. I mean, look at this right now. We're seeing a lot right now, but at the end of the day, having the 2 Netherworlds is going to be, a detriment, but I will say with Elk being on board, sometimes you don't even have to swing in. So, you could just sit back and wait. But, we will see what happens. We've been seeing Elk been, I think honestly, the star player for both of these games, other than, Dino, of course, but both of those cards have just been the star players. And one, you already know what happens with it. It just will sit back and relax for a little bit, but the other one is just going to swing in. But we have seen, different play styles with this. You know, we've seen Dinah be the one to take out the game. We've seen Elk just sit back and relax while he just pressures their opponent more and more and more every single time. So it is going to be fun. I mean, let's just all be serious with ourselves right now. Right in this situation, you know, you having that, you know, Namen City stick so long will be a detriment as like for a long time if it stays on the field. It is going to then be able to reduce a maybe second Elk and may be able to reduce Namengard. It may be able to say, hey, Aegis, I need your help real quick. It is just going to help so much as time goes on. So if you can't deal with it now, you're going to have to deal with it later. But also the same situation can be said for Netherworld. You know, you don't want to just keep giving your opponents cards when you try to swing in, because the more and more it happens, it's just going to be way worse for you. But we do know you're on the clock right now with Elk. Elk is on the field. That clock will start ticking. You know, you got to be able to close the game out before that clock makes you go to zero. And you got to see how this is the best way possible to do it.
Yeah, so with this going on the way it is, Caleb is in double depths protocol. And as what I mean by that is, at this point in the game, he's going to be able to just start turning things sideways, because at very worst, he's just going to get blocked. At very best, he's going to get, well, I mean, at very worst, he's going to do a damage. And that's good. That's getting you closer to the burn range of an Elk. But at very worst, I guess not even worse, he's just going to get blocked and draw 2 cards. So at this point, he's going to be able to start being very aggressive with his cards if he so chooses, because there's just no way for his opponent to keep up with the just card advantage. The avalanche of card advantage is going to come from double Netherworld. The thing about that, though, that's most detrimental is the fact that with double Netherworld, if he starts if he cores up this Enterprise and starts being able to swing with it, or cores up his 0-drop and swings with that, he's just going to start generating cards, finding these dream bombs, finding these cards that will help him out of this situation. And having Enterprise established this early in the game, like, it only needs 1 turn, and the next turn is going to be firing on all cylinders, and essentially almost all of Caleb's cards will not be touchable by Briscoe. That's a scary, scary thought.
Yeah, I mean, looking at this right now, we do see the Enterprise coming down right now. I love in the Enterprise. I mean, I love how, honestly, it is my most hated card. I don't know what yours probably is, but I know my most hated card is the Enterprise. I mean, seeing that it stops a lot of what you want to do. It's literally looking at, you know, the holy trifecta, saying, hey, red, no, you're not doing anything to me. Hey, you know, white, you're not doing anything to me. Purple, you're not doing anything to me. We're just gonna have to sit here both looking at each other and saying, okay, yeah, some of these cards in your hand will be dead for the foreseeable future. Now, at the end of the day, we do know that Frisco will be rocking that escapable avalanche. So, you know, at the end of the day, depending on what game plan, you know, Caleb is able to draw into and what he will be able to play, you know, it may be worth it to be like, hey, oh, you're gonna be swinging the Enterprise? Yeah, I'm just gonna do inescapable avalanche on you. But yeah, this is gonna be weird. It's gonna be definitely weird to see what goes on with this. You know, with the Axe Spider Mirror, it can go on for a long time. We know this. So, you know, sit back and relax, guys. We're gonna be in for a long show, but we will be seeing Dinah come down. Dinah will be coming out to the field. So right now we're gonna be saying, hey, listen, this is gonna be a fun time for you. You're not gonna be able to bounce my Dinah unless you have an escapable avalanche. So yeah, we're just gonna have some fun right now. And looking at that, he will be swinging in too. Let's see what the response is. I think, honestly, you know, take it. Do what you got to do.
I mean, he definitely wants to get this burn off, but like, I'm not sure if it's
no, take it. It's just, you know, it's safer for you to just do that at that point. I mean, well, unless you know, from using a spell in your hand, I'm thinking he might have had I don't know if we've seen it or not, if he had an inescapable avalanche in his hand at all. It looks like it. Yeah, he had 1 at least. So, you know, that thought process, I'm like, yeah, you might as well just take it, bro. You'll be fine right now looking at it. But right now, yeah, it's going to be fun to see what else he has planned for this turn. I mean, he has a lot of cores to really work with as long as he's able to keep Elk at a sustainable, you know, core level for that level 2. We're just going to see what happens. I mean, look at this. Was that 4? Is that 8 or is that 8 cores over there? Is that 7?
7, I think.
7. Okay. 7 cores to work with. In this situation, let's say for Caleb's side, because I will say Frisco is looking a little better off. What are you really, thinking right now, looking or hoping that doesn't happen for Frisco?
Realistically, the Durham Dyna starting next turn is going to be able to start getting in some assured damage. I mean, of course, he has to be worried about things like, he doesn't have to be worried about Dream Bomb, but I believe Avalanche, yes. This is kind of one of those moments where Caleb needs to find his outs. This is starting to turn into a very elongated game. Now, granted, he has double Netherworld, so he's going to start drawing to a point where it's just going to be going. He's going to be going through so many of his outs. And I think Frisco realizes that he does need to close out this game. He needs to be able to swing. He needs to be able to get this life down so that the burn will take care of the rest.
This is dangerous. It's getting real dangerous over here, guys. I mean, honestly, this is the last game. This will be the game to decide who wins that $7,000, who is able to then say they are this Grand Opens champion. I am very, very shocked, though, I will say, because as we know with these Axe Spider games, it could go very, very long, but it doesn't feel like too long. I will say that, but I know some of y'all are going to be like, yeah, Jex, it's been a long, long game right now. But, having he's thinking about it. I was about to say we do know that inescapable avalanche is in his hand.
Yeah, I was just about to say, I was like, he has the ability to kill the Enterprise.
Yeah.
And now it's going to be on. Yep, there we go. Dream Bombo.
Oh, baby, getting it out right then and there. Oh, that's perfect.
And that's very strong, too, because what happens now is they both used very, very good magic cards, Suppression and Dream Bomb. But only Frisco lost a body in that exchange. So the momentum that he had going is very, very strong. And now, past that, Caleb does not have the fear of getting burned for a life because he couldn't deal damage. So, yeah, in one exchange of cards, Frisco definitely lost out on that one.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, you could. Oh wow, another Dream Bomb coming down, baby.
Getting Durham Dynamo out while the shields were down for Enterprise is actually a pretty good play. Now recasting that, he's gonna lose a lot of his cores for the turn, and so Frisco is just like, no, I can't be the only person losing huge chunks of momentum, and I can agree with that. I can definitely agree with that. He wants to make sure that there's never these mad swings. Now, it looks like, yes, the boards are being built, but you got double Netherworld, 3 life, and you still haven't seen a single Aegis yet. So, I mean, I think Caleb is sitting in a pretty nice position.
Yeah, he's sitting pretty right now. Okay, we're going to see that axe go right down on the board, making sure that we are going to try to cement this win in our books right now. I mean, honestly, look, right now we have seen for ourselves that, Frisco does have that inescapable avalanche, but at the end of the day, him using that Dream Bomb was pretty good right there. I mean, at the end of the day, he didn't have to do anything else with the inescapable avalanche, so he could probably do a surprise play later on. But we know Caleb already knows this could happen. We already know Caleb knows that he has it in his deck already. So he's already probably trying to prepare for it. But Caleb is looking in a better position as the game goes on because, some of these situations with this game right now is going to, revolve around if he's going to be able to, run out the clock for Elk if he does end up trying to play it again, or will Caleb try to end out this game with Dyna being played again? Yeah, that's something honestly to think about fully. But I do think that, like you said, with Caleb being in this better position, it's going to make Frisco have to do some really different plays or really try to think like he did last game and be able to get around this as quickly as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Now, looking at this, he does put, Snowbit at level 2, having Axe Spider just sit at just at the 3K, which isn't bad. Can't really complain about it too much. But yeah, we will be thinking about what happens with this right now. 2 cores left in the reserve. He will be putting that right onto the Axe Spider, just thinking about what else he can probably do. It doesn't look like he has a lot of cores to work with for, spells in general without giving up that protection to the entire field. I mean, Axe Spider is already a unit in of itself. He probably will be taking it off of either the Snowbit or the Enterprise at that point, just to make sure that he'll be fine. But we will be seeing him swing in with the Axe Spider. Will he be blocking it with the Axe Spider? I don't really think so, because it's at 1 at this point, but he will be taking that damage out. Maybe he'll be passing turn there.
This is very, very, very much so strong. Like I said, this is the part where this is double Netherworld protocol. Throw in a swing, either take this damage or I draw 2 cards. Either way, I'm gonna be okay with it.
Yeah, I'm happy. This is crazy. I mean, to be honest, loving how this goes. I'm loving how we're seeing things go down with this. We're just going to have to really sit there and think long and hard about how this goes for the, side of Frisco. Frisco is going to be in this situation, but he does have a good enough hand to be able to combat certain amount of things. But sometimes that hand can just be dead in the face of Enterprise. Sometimes you just can't use certain cards in the face of Enterprise. Sometimes some cards don't even matter in the face of Enterprise. I mean, honestly, it is a unit to have. Now, we do know he still has the Elk there. He still has the Elk in hand. So, starting out that clock would be probably beneficial for him going into this turn. He probably will be thinking like, yeah, listen, I'm going to have to just start this off well. How many cores will he? Okay. Trying to see how many cores he actually can use in terms of just being able to either get the Elk back out or be able to go into, this turn and be like, hey, I'm just going to figure this out and be able to build this wall up. I mean, these walls haven't been looking too wide, but at the end of the day, these walls have been very, very, very prevalent. All it takes is 1 unit sometimes and you have something that you cannot get past. But right now, Elk will be hitting the board again, making sure that we are here just for the long haul. I mean, we did get Axe up to that level 2. So, Elk being there right now, making sure that Elk is going to be cored up so that that clock will start up again. And with that clock starting up again, it will become very, very situational for him.
Yo, it's this is interesting because yes, Frisco has the board that could threaten game faster, but Caleb has the setup that's more dangerous. Between Axe Spider, Enterprise, and Double Netherworld, the only thing Caleb needs are cores. Like, it's literally the only thing he's missing. It's just cores. And also once he blocks with little dude, the 0 cost, it's or he just moves the cores around. I was like, he's gonna be in a better position to just have more cores free up. But yeah, like the main thing starving Caleb right now is just cores in general. He has draw power.
Yeah.
He has he has armor.
Yeah.
Dynam is just about to do its thing.
Yeah. We have, look at that, 3 Nexus on board with Dino on board. You gotta know, like, you're sitting well off, but those cores, man. Like, he doesn't have both of them. Like you said, he has the hand for it, just not the cores. But we will be, swinging in with Dyna, making sure he chose, I think, the Enterprise Dyna and the Axe Spider to be unblockable.
Caleb said, 2 Pete sounds pretty nice right about now.
Look, Caleb getting to this, I would be very, very happy for. I mean, honestly, look at it. He's been just showing up every single time on camera and just saying, hey, yeah, I'm in top 8 again. This is just the norm for me. This is just something that will just always happen. I mean, it's just been coming back and forth for it. But right now, he's trying to close it out. He's trying to be the one to say, hey, I'm going to be a Grand Open champion. And then when I go into Pro Tour, I am going to say, hey, look, I got the Pro Tour champ on my belt and I got the Grand Open champ on my belt as well. And, this is going to be great to see. I mean, honestly, he's been a threat to a lot of people. A lot of different people have always, every time they see Caleb, they're like, all right, this is going to be a long one. I got to really think hard about what I do with this game. I got to think about what I do with everything right now. Oh, yeah. Going down to that one. Hold up. What do you think is going to go down?
That does not bode well at all. Because he has the cores to play quite a few things. So, like, if he's gone down to that one, I'm kind of wondering.
No, what will come from this?
A pass. Okay.
I feel like he just didn't want to, hope go into maybe Inescapable Avalanche. Probably if he swung it with Enterprise, I feel like that's safe, right? I feel like that was a good, good play right there. Just making sure that you stave off in that sense. Ooh, this is crazy. This is crazy. I'm very excited to see how this goes out. I mean, Frisco could do a lot during his own turn. I mean, having the ages to be able to put himself back up to that, second life is going to be beneficial for him. But we will have to see how this goes out. I mean, honestly, Elk is sitting at 3, going to be able to say, hey, you're still on the clock no matter what. But Dinah being there to say, hey, I'm going to hit you so that clock doesn't really matter to me. And that is very, very, very important. Now, we do see that Frisco has 4 cores to work with. Whoa. Or did we? Oh, yep, there it is. Age is going down to put him up to 3. I think that was great.
Gosh.
I think that was great at that point. And he's going to draw a card off of the fact that he has less cards than Caleb. I think, honestly, this is going to be great. At this point, you do have the Elk, sitting right over there at 3, having the 2 ages out with the Axe Spider at this point. He's like, hey, listen, I'm going to be in a good position. And we know that Inescapable Avalanche is sitting in his hand. So if he does use it, he's going to probably take it off of Elk right there and just say, hey, I'm just going to be bouncing that probably Enterprise. I think he's gunning for that Enterprise right now, more or less.
Wow.
Let's see how this goes. I mean, honestly, do you think he'll be playing another unit? Do you think he'll just be saving and swinging in because he has 2 cores left to really work with? I don't know if there is anything he could play. He could probably take it off of the snow bit, if anything, if he wants to try to do that.
I mean, I'm wondering how small of a body can he produce, because Durham Dinah is going to be putting in the most work. I mean, he just gained 2 life, and he might just lose 2 life. I mean, granted, it's him being alive for another turn, but this is very, very much a tense game state.
We're going to be seeing this. I mean, honestly, look, he's really thinking about this. I mean, honestly, both of these players,
my gosh. Hold the phone. I've seen this before.
Nope. Gotta go.
I've seen this before somewhere.
Go. What? All right.
Once upon a time, I've seen 3 Netherworlds, and I know how that ended.
Listen, I ain't gonna lie. This ain't a sight that I like to see. But I will say right now, we are in a position where everything on the field is unblockable. Every single thing. And there's 3 life left. Okay.
Capable Avalanche is going to do things.
Yeah, it's there. He's going to be, I think he has, how many? Was it the 1? He's sitting at that 2 life right now, swinging in. Yep. And honestly,
only 1 Inescapable Avalanche.
Yeah. And after that,
let's
see how.
Is he hitting for 2?
I think that's the game. Is that game? Does he have another one? Is it hiding in the back? Yep, that's the game.
There we go.
Man, let me tell you something. I ain't gonna lie. When I saw that other Netherworld, I'm like, wait a minute.
Look. This has to be a love letter to a person that Caleb had already played against earlier. This menace said, I see you playing 3 Netherworld Depths and getting decked out, but I am him, and I will play 3 Netherworld Depths and win. And not just a win the entire. That's insane. And it's like I'm seeing some people in the chat talking about Netherworld depth being broken. There's a yes and there's a no for this particular matchup. This particular matchup, did Netherworld depths give Caleb bad cards? And the answer is no. I think he drew one, maybe two off of it. However, the point of it is that Netherworld depths is a game warping card. There wasn't a chance later in the game for those two Netherworld depths to really gain cards because Frisco just wasn't in a point where he wanted to attack and he didn't really need to block too often either. However, there is a point. There is a point in the beginning of the game where Netherworld depths did stop, like double Netherworld depths stopped Frisco from doing a little bit of what he wanted to do. Early in the game, when the first Netherworld depths came out, he did not care. He still swung under it in order to, wow, that deck box takes me back. That is a OG classic. Anyhow, he swung under Netherworld depths and he gave him a draw. Yes. However, at the same time, once that second Netherworld depths hit the board, Frisco could no longer just be aggressive trying to put his opponent at a life total where Elk would finish it because he was just, the risk to reward was not high enough. Well, the reward to the risk was not high enough. The chance of giving your opponent dream bombs from giving them two because you wanted to push them down into Elk range was far too high. So one Netherworld, maybe not the straw that broke the camel's back. Two Netherworld completely warped how Frisco played the game. The third Netherworld, I think, honestly, that was like potentially flag on the play, unnecessary flexing, but it was still there. I mean, it wasn't flag on the play. He needed the other Nexus in order to use Durham Dyna's effect to be able to push everything through. But that being said, ironically, despite Netherworld depths being the best Nexus in the game, one of the best cards in the game, ironically, Netherworld depths could have been any Nexus on that last turn, and it just would have done the same exact thing. The first and the third copies were rather irrelevant. It was the second copy that did the most work just by being there. Yep.
I gotta say, Caleb being a champion yet again. This is crazy. I mean, I see some bad Caleb's in the chat. I ain't gonna lie to you. My man's just been going off so strong, just going in and making sure that he makes the best plays possible for his deck. He's been doing so well. I honestly can't be, upset about seeing Axe again against Axe because for some reason for me, as most people know, I'm an aggro player. I like seeing some control matchups because it teaches me things. It teaches me about certain interactions that I really, miss a lot of times and just look out for. But we do have the crown champion be Caleb. Caleb has just been showing just nothing but force for a bunch of these different tournaments. And at this point, can't count it out. And this is going to be crazy. I mean, look, like you said before, that last Netherworld could have been anything, but the flex that put down, I'm not going to lie.
It was funny. But I mean, yeah, that literally could have just been another Newmangard City. He just needed any Nexus on board to be able to punch through. That was just very, very, very strong. And then we're also seeing just like those early game Elks really hurt, but those early game Enterprises are where it is at in the white mirror. The moment Enterprise comes down, it's crazy how legitimately 80-85% of your removal suite just becomes a non-factor, and you are forced, my guy, to rely on Avalanche, which relies on your opponent swinging with high priority targets to be inescapable Avalanche. Actually, it's ironic. Inescapable Avalanche is very escapable. You just don't swing with the things that you don't want your bounce. So it's a really kind of a rough spot. When you see that 2 of Enterprise and you windmill it down in the first couple turns, it is sometimes just an insurmountable thing. It's not going to win you the game that turn, but it changes what your opponent's able to do, and it turns a whole bunch of cards into completely dead cards. So with that being said, I just want to let you guys know we had a great time watching you guys play, actually. We had a great time casting, watching you guys play. I was really, really happy to be here. I'm fairly certain, Jex, you were happy to be here.
Always.
First time casting with Jex. Very, very, very good experience with me. I had a lot of fun, but I just wanted to let you guys know once again, we have our locals at all of our LGSs that we appear in. Go in there, get your practice, get your skill up to the point where you can be on these streams, just completely cracking these super busted plays. Get your scope owls, get all the little things you need from these packs. Past that, we have the lore set coming out very, very, very soon. Okay. And you saw how amazing and crisp and shiny and foily these cards were. The gold foiling on these cards is immaculate. And whether you want to actually brew with these cards or put them in your binder, they're an excellent addition to your collection as a Battle Spirit Saga player. And they will also be legal in the upcoming tournament. That's a huge thing. Next Pro Tour, lore set, legal. And the last thing I wanted to point out was just to keep your eyes open for the next Grand Open announcements, because I believe we're in wave 2 of 3, which means there are going to be more. We will have more Grand Opens. You will have more times to come up, practice. The format may very well be different, not only with new releases, but maybe even some small adjustments. There's no way to know. But yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff, and the future of Battle Spirits is looking super bright, super shiny, especially with that lore set. And one more time, congratulations to Caleb for coming off with his second Premier win, but also congratulations to everybody in the top 8. Frisco showed out very, very strong. Everybody in the top 8 showed out strong. We had some great feature matches today. And thank you guys as well in the chat for being so full of knowledge. Just the quick little nudges in the right direction. If we ever missed something, if we didn't see how many chords were on some, or we misstep with an effect, thank you guys so much. You guys have also had great conversation, and you know the stream isn't a stream without the viewers. So thank you guys for tuning in, and we have had a really good time being here.
Yeah, and I really got to say thank you guys for allowing me to be here. I'm still new to this. I'm still learning. So I really appreciate all the love people been giving me. I know I mess up every now and then, you know, being an aggro player. The control matches be funny for me to watch, but I'm loving it. I'm loving the energy y'all been giving. I'm loving everything for this game. I'm excited for what comes in the future. You know, we're going to see a lot. We're going to see a lot coming forward in the next few months for this game. I know everybody's excited for set 3 reveals. I know we already got announced the world tour for the Bandai card games coming in January in LA. So I hope to see a lot of y'all there, because I will be there myself. I'm excited for this. This is going to be so great. And thank you guys. Thank you guys so much for putting up with me and everything. I really appreciate it.
Excellent, excellent. So you guys have a great day. Once again, thank you for tuning in. And I know personally, this is Uni X TCG, Jexgamingg, signing out. You guys have a great day. Keep it frosty, and we'll see you in future events.